go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie, and today I put together 36 fall Dollar Tree DIYs that I've made this year in 2023. It's going to be a little bit of a longer video, so I will be sure to include chapters below. Let's get started. The first set of fall DIYs are going to be Kirkland's Dupes from fall items from their website. The first item that we're going to try to dupe with Dollar Tree supplies is this little Hello Pumpkin art print, regularly $49.99 at Kirkland's, and we're going to try to dupe it with supplies from the Dollar Tree. So the first thing I did was design this image that's pretty close to the original, and I will include the link to the free printable for that. And we are going to frame it in one of these Dollar Tree frames. I really liked this one because it was square and the original art print was square, so I thought this would work well. It kind of has like a tannish gray frame, which I kind of like. It kind of goes great for neutral fall, so we're going to leave that as is. Now, to make the art print, I'm actually going to attach the image that I printed directly on the glass. Now, the frame is slightly larger than the width of a piece of paper, so 8.5 inches, just slightly larger. So what I'm going to do here is just cut the sides off of this image. I printed it out on cardstock just because I find it's a little bit easier to work with, but you could probably get away with paper, but you might get a little bit more wrinkling with that. What I want is a slight glass border on the two sides to match the slight glass border that's going to be on the top and the bottom there. So that looks pretty good. It is a little bit smaller, than the glass, but it is so small that it's really not noticeable. So I am going to just do Mod Podge all over the surface of the glass, and we're just going to attach the image directly to that. So I put a nice thick layer down and line up my image. Make sure it's kind of on there square, that there aren't any bubbles. I like to smooth mine out first with my fingers, really dry, but then I also like to follow that up with a scraper to try to get any excess glue out that might be trapped underneath of it too. And this is really going to give us a mounted art print on wood, but just using the existing glass that was in the frame. So once I got it dried, I went over the top of it with more Mod Podge to seal it down. I kind of like the brush strokes that you get from that. I've been having a lot of problems with the Dollar Tree foam brushes lately though, leaving those little black spots of foam, but we got it in there. We're just going to go ahead and put it back in the frame. As you can see, there is a slight border around that. And I kind of wanted to fill that with something because I didn't want the brown backing to show through there. So I decided just to use the paper that came with the frame, turn it upside down like that. It will have a white background and it will kind of blend in with our printable. I do have a larger format printer, but I have it set up only for sublimation, so I can't go any larger than a regular sheet of paper. So I just popped the back on it. I wanted to use the existing hanger that was on there. And check it out, how easy was that DIY. I think it was so easy, and with this printable, you can make this too. I always share a link to the files that are in my Google Drive. So this is what we were trying to do, the Hello Pumpkin art print from Kirkland's. And let me show you ours. I think it turned out really cute. I love the neutral colors. I kind of chose a honey color for the word hello. And I like that it's just hello with just a pumpkin, kind of figure it out, right? And I try to use lots of fall colors there in the greenery and a beautiful watercolor pumpkin. I think it turned out really good. What do you guys think about our first Kirkland dupe? Up next, we're going to do another one. This one was a white textured pumpkin canvas art print, regularly $39.99 from Kirkland's. And I thought we could DIY this with one of the Dollar Tree burlap canvases because it's already kind of that brownish color, right? So they kind of had a wood frame on theirs. And for that, I thought we could use some of the 5-gallon paint stirrers from Walmart. So I'm just going to use my football pumpkin. Isn't that adorable? I picked that up at Dollar Tree the other day just for a stencil. But, you know, a pumpkin shape is so easy. You can probably figure this out if you don't have anything. But I had this handy and it was the right size. So I'm just going to use that for a stencil and then use a Sharpie. I'm going to have mine slightly go off the bottom and the side like the original. And since I have a rectangular canvas instead of a square, I chose a long pumpkin. I thought that would look good. Now to make the textures, I'm just going to use hot glue. So right where I put my Sharpie line, I'm going to go in with kind of my fine tip hot glue gun here and just start sketching that out. And this is going to provide us that texture that you see in the original. So I just do the border, do a couple lines right here for the little pumpkin stem. And then I'm going to do I think I can fit 4 little pumpkin lines in, kind of arched a little bit to go along the sides of where the pumpkin would be there. So I do each side and then I do another 2 here in the middle. And that is mainly the texture that I saw in our inspiration piece. And once we paint all that, it's going to provide us that cool texture. Now, I thought that looked pretty good, but I thought maybe I should make the outside of the pumpkin a little bit thicker. So I did go back in there with another coat of hot glue on that. And you want to clean up any hot glue strands or anything like that you might have, because when you go to paint it, you're going to be able to see it. But I think that looks pretty good, and I think we can start painting it. But we just have to let the hot glue set up. I'm just burning off those strands, and I have an air conditioner in my garage, so I wouldn't put it in front of the air conditioner for a minute, like a window unit, and it's set right up. Now I'm just using regular ivory acrylic paint. And we are gonna paint this. See how that great texture turns out? And I kind of like the imperfect nature of the hot glue. It's gonna make it look even more handcrafted and unique. And I'm just gonna go in and paint that. I did switch to a smaller brush when I'm kind of going around the edges. I don't wanna go too crazy there. But basically I wanna do a nice thick coat of the ivory in there. I thought at first that I might have to do spackle, to do a spackle texture to kind of get this look. But I was really impressed with how well this burlap painted. If you put a good coat of paint on there, it really does seal up the burlap and you don't see all those little burlap holes if you just gave a thin coat of paint on there. So I just went over the whole thing. I noticed that my hot glue kind of looked a little bit grayish. So I do go in there and touch that up a little bit until I get a nice ivory coat. I dried it and then I just go back in any areas where I kind of had any holes or any areas that were a little bit thin. I just added another touch of paint. And that's basically it for the canvas part. Just a little bit of hot glue and some acrylic paint and one of these little burlap canvases, which I am obsessed with. Every time I see these, I try to grab a stack. Because they are great for coastal crafting, but look at this, they're great for fall crafting as well. So I'm just going over everything, making sure it is good and white, and I really love how that turned out. Now, the 5-gallon paint stirrers from Walmart, they're a couple dollars. You get 3 of them, and 1 can be for each side, and then this one, I'm going to cut it twice to this length for a top and the bottom, and we're just gonna make a really easy little chunky frame. I just cut left to right, side to side for the top and the bottom. I'll fill the rest of the space in when I go to do the side pieces. I was trying to decide if I wanted it boxy or kind of in the middle, and I decided I wanted it in the middle, so I just do a band of hot glue on the middle of my paint stick, and I'm gonna stick that directly to my canvas. I decided to attach it this way because I didn't want any real visible nails or anything like that, which you could do. But I noticed the sides of the canvas are a little bumpy. And if I use hot glue, I can kind of mold the frame to go tight up against the burlap as I can get. And it actually turned out pretty well. So I got my top piece on, and we're going to do the same thing here with the bottom. Just gluing it about halfway. And be careful, like I thought that my paint was dry, but the paint on the back of the canvas was wet. And it made me get it on the frame. So I got to clean that up real quick. It definitely went through the holes a little bit. And now we just need 2 side pieces for our frame. I wanted it to be kind of constructed like this, so you could hang it or you can sit it. I'm going to use it like kind of as a shelf sitter artwork for my home. So I cut down a side piece. I didn't cut it down great though, and it fit better on the other side, so we're going to go with that. So same thing, we're just going to glue it on. This time I put glue on each end of the top frame and then glue along the sides. That way I can kind of glue everything together in one straight shot, just trying to keep it as square as I can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as it looks kind of square and it stands properly, I'm totally going to be fine with it. So one more paint stick. And one of y'all told me that you guys get like paint sticks from, I think, Home Depot or Lowe's. And it must be the smaller ones. I don't know. They sounded like they're really cheap. I have never bought paint sticks from there before, but maybe I'll have to check that out because I always love these large ones from Walmart. And if they're cheaper than the Dollar Tree rulers, then maybe I need to stock up on some because I love using them for crafting. So I've got it all glued on there. And this DIY is complete. I love it. It turned out so cute. And I think it looks pretty close to the original. So here is what we were trying to dupe. This white textured pumpkin art print from Kirkland's for $39.99. And here is our Dollar Tree version. With a $1.25 canvas plus a couple dollars for the paint sticks. Really easy to DIY. And I love the simplicity of this. If you did like a neutral fall, this is going to go so nicely with your decor. And isn't it cute? I love kind of the imperfect nature of it. It's just kind of a work of art. Okay, next dupe, we're going to try to do this pumpkin floral window hanger plaque, which is regularly $29.99 at Kirkland's. And I wanted to try to do a Dollar Tree version. Now mine's probably going to be a lot smaller, but they have a very similar frame, this one from Dollar Tree. So let's give it a go. I thought we could do a little cathedral window and make a pumpkin wreath that's going to be kind of similar. I do want to switch up the hanger though. I don't like the way that it was hanging before. I did try to use like the existing hanger and just reverse it, but it was too short, so I'm just going to go ahead and replace it with twine. I always like to knot them in the front. I just think it hangs better, and sometimes the Dollar Tree pieces can be a little thin. This one's kind of a medium thickness, I would say. It doesn't bow or anything like that, but it kind of has that wood grain on it already, like the original window, so that's going to save us a step. So just knotted that in the front, and then I want to remove the little welcome sign on there because the original does not have that piece. And it is on there, like so much. Like I used a lot of heat and a lot of scraping, and I was able to get it off intact mostly. Now, the thing that I noticed though is when I got it off and got everything cleaned up, there were like still a couple little tiny nails, not visible from the back, but visible from the front. So those kind of bothered me. I was trying to see if I could hide them or grab them. I was able to get them with pliers though, so I did just kind of try to pull them out and just kind of get that out of the way. I really got most of that off without any damage, but there was just a slight bit of damage there that I thought was going to be a little bit distracting. So I thought one of these little wood Hello Autumn signs from the Dollar Tree would be perfect there. It'll cover up that little bit of damage. And I'm going to paint it this color. It is called Golden Sunset. It is by Apple Barrel from Walmart. It's kind of the color of the year, this kind of like honey color for fall. So I thought that'd be a nice neutral color to go with this. I just do a little hot glue there on the line that connects the two letters and glue that on the bottom. It's a perfect fit. Now, from there, all we have to do is make the little fall wreath that was hanging on the original, and I'm going to do that with just a couple items from the Dollar Tree. My first attempt was wire. I have some wire from Dollar Tree. It's really thin, but I thought maybe it would be a good idea to kind of just form a wreath form out of the wire. And then I can use floral wire to attach everything to my wreath. It didn't last long though, because I figured it was a little bit too much work for such a small scale wreath, but I did start it with some of this lamb's ear from Dollar Tree. I absolutely love this stuff. It's like some of my favorite greenery. I'm so glad that Dollar Tree is carrying it now. I'm just kind of pulling the pieces off, keeping their little plastic stems, and so I can have little pieces to decorate it with. Now, this was my original plan. I was just going to wire everything to it, but I do have plans to attach lots of things to it, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I really need to wire it. So I decided, you know what? I think I could probably do just as good as a wreath with hot glue instead of the wire, which is going to be a little bit annoying. So this is about how far that I got when I decided, yeah, the heck with the wire. But I did begin that way. So what I'm going to do instead is I just looked around for something that was round to kind of give me a reference to a circular shape. And then we can just kind of start building around that. And I'm going to do the wreath form first with the lamb's ear, and then we can add everything else to it. The original one from Kirkland's looked like it was lamb's ear, pumpkins, and like maybe wheat. Now, Dollar Tree, I don't know, maybe it's all gone already, but I haven't been able to find any wheat at Dollar Tree this year or anything that looks quite like it. So we're going to use some fall eucalyptus, which I think is going to give us a very similar feel. So as you can see, I'm just kind of overlapping it slightly, using a little dot of hot glue here and there to attach the piece to the previous section. But I'm kind of keeping all the leaves going the same direction and just wrapping it all around. Now, some of the leaves are like kind of small and super fuzzy like this one. Some of them are kind of bigger and greener. I'm just trying to kind of, you know, mix them all together. So I made it all the way around. We got our first ring shape, so we can kind of get rid of that. It's not super even, but it is about the right size, I think, for our little window. So since it's not even, I thought I would add a little bit more to it. Just picking out some bigger leaves here and attaching them any of the areas that I kind of thought looked a little sparse. And just trying to make sure it has that nice round shape. And I'm really glad that I switched to hot glue, because I think constructing this was way easier this way and a little bit less time. So anytime I kind of want to change the direction, I can just do that with a dot of hot glue. And I'm going to add another leaf like right here, and it's looking way fuller. Now the next step is this eucalyptus I was talking about. It's in with the fall flowers. It's kind of got the same color as the wheat, kind of got a very similar shape. So I think we can use some of these. There are different colors, so I'm going to kind of use a variety of colors, and I think 3 is going to be plenty because this is a very small little wreath. And I just put a little hot glue on the end of it and tuck it down in between our lamb's ear leaves. Kind of a third of the way here, and then I'll do my last one right down here at the bottom. And the other thing that the original had from Kirkland's was some little pumpkins. And I picked up this great greenery from the fall section that has little pumpkins dangling from it. And it works out perfect because there's 3. I like the fact that they have stems like this that dangle. It's going to make it a little bit easier, I think, to attach it to the wreath. But I don't really want to incorporate that too much into the design. So I decided to kind of attach the stems to the back of the wreath. So I start by doing that, by hot gluing that. And I'm going to kind of do one in between each one of the eucalyptus. Kind of spread those out as well. And then we can kind of pull the pumpkins around to the other side. So that is all 3 of them. They're kind of strung on. That's just going to make it a little bit sturdier when I go to attach the pumpkins to this side. As you can see, they kind of dangle around kind of all over the place, and I really want them to kind of stay in place. And so I do glue them down to the front of the pumpkin as well. but just a little bit here, kind of on their side, kind of tilted a little bit. And then I just kind of want to make sure that I have them kind of evenly spaced out. And I think it's looking pretty cute. I think maybe just a few more touches, maybe a few more lamb's ear, just to make it look a little bit thicker. And then we'll be ready to hang our little pumpkin wreath on our window. This is a really fun DIY to make. I really love crafting with those little cathedral windows, signs from Dollar Tree. They have them in like 3 or 4 different varieties. I think they even have one like on a stand now if you wanted to do this for a standing decoration instead of a hanging decoration. Doesn't that look so cute? And I really don't mind the Hello Autumn that we added to it. I think that is a fun touch. And it's a nice small size DIY where you could pretty much hang this anywhere. It would look great in your kitchen, in your office, wherever you need a little bit of fall decor. And I just hot glued it to the front of our window, kind of centering it on there and cleaning up any hot glue that may have come through the holes there in the window. But that's it. We have another Kirkland's Dupe complete. Super easy. I think it turned out really beautiful. What do you guys think about this one? So again, here was our original pumpkin floral window hanger plaque for $29.99 regularly at Kirkland's. And then let me show you my Dollar Tree version. I think it turned out really sweet, and I think I have the perfect place to hang this for fall. I really love crafting fall DIYs. They're some of my favorite. Such a fun time of year to craft. So here it is, our little pumpkin wreath window and our next dupe. So Kirkland's Home has the Scarecrow double-sided pillow, regularly $39.99, and I thought we could make a Dollar Tree version. Ours is going to be on the smaller side, because I wanted to try to use one of these burlap bags from Dollar Tree for the front and the back. The reason I chose this instead of the burlap at Dollar Tree is because it's got this plastic coating. It's a synthetic burlap, so it doesn't fray. It's super easy to cut, and it's really easy to work with. So even though it's going to be a little bit smaller pillow, I think it's going to work perfect in my entryway. And since this is kind of has a plastic coating on it, if you wanted to use this outside, I think that it would totally hold up. Basically, I want all the fabric off of the front and the back of the bag. So I'm just cutting along the seam there because it did kind of have the little side panels on the bag that I don't really need. So I don't need the handle or the seam up here. I'm just going to try to get as much as that synthetic burlap clean as I can get in the shape of a rectangle. I just kind of want to use every single bit of it. And then we can do a little scarecrow head pillow like the original from Kirkland's. I thought that I was going to get super straight lines with my little rotary blade, but I did not really. But I do have this cutting mat, so I'm going to kind of use that to try to straighten this up a little bit and give me some cleaner edges so I'll have a nice square pillow. Once I get this one good and square, then I can just use this one as a template for the other piece. So one will be the front with the scarecrow face. I'm not going to make mine double-sided. I'm just going to do one side with the face. So I'm just going to lay that on top of here. And then I can use that for a reference when cutting down the second one. I just kind of want to get the sides and the handle and all that kind of stuff out of my way just to make it a little bit easier to cut. And once I get that all down, then I can just use the original for reference to cut it down. Now, I love painting this like synthetic burlap. It's super easy to paint. And so I think we're going to be able to do like a very similar design to the original Scarecrow. So I'm going to kind of use that for reference and try to freehand this. Now, it had kind of like a hat that kind of went sideways like this. My pillow is not super big, so I don't want my hat part to be very big because it doesn't really add too much to the design. And I'm going to make it that same kind of like yellowish honey color to kind of go with my fall decor. So I use a paint marker in that color, and then I go back in with this beautiful color, and I'm just using a brush. That way I can kind of get in all of the fibers of the burlap, make it look like it is really painted in there. I've noticed that when you use the paint pens, you kind of get that dotted look because it doesn't really get in the holes of the synthetic burlap, which is why you need a brush to kind of push it all down in there. And I just want a nice even coat for the hat. And they had like, I think Happy Harvest on theirs. I don't have quite enough room for that, but I will add a word to that. Then I just use a black Sharpie and I draw on 2 oval eyes like the original scarecrow. And that's kind of the effect that you get. It had like these little parts of the eyeball here. So I went ahead and sketched those out, but see how like dotted that looks? I tried to like switch it up to a paint pen, but I felt like it still did not give me great coverage. So I'm just going to use a tiny brush from Dollar Tree, some black acrylic, and go in there and paint it like I did the hat. And I think that's key. I think that makes it look a lot better. And with a tiny brush, you can't make too many mistakes on an eye, right? And we're going to do the face very similar to the one in the original because I thought it was super cute. Scarecrow faces are really easy to DIY. Now, I always like to have my scarecrow noses be like a little triangular shape. They did something really cute on the original where they made their nose look like a piece of candy corn. So I'm going to emulate that since we're doing a dupe video. So I just sketch out that rectangular rounded shape. Kind of like that, which is what I would normally give a scarecrow, right? But we're going to paint it to look like a piece of candy corn. So I do white at first. This little section here, I tried paint pen again. Convinced I could use paint pen, just didn't like the look. So I went back in with a little bit of white acrylic to fill that in. Also, these little reflections here in the little scarecrow eyes. We're going to paint those white as well. Then I'm going to switch to orange. I think this is called jack-o'-lantern color for this part of the candy corn. And then switch back to our original color here that we used for the hat. And I think that kind of looks like a piece of candy corn. What do you think? And then the mouth was like a bunch of squiggles. So I just take a black Sharpie and do squiggles in the shape of a mouth. Can't really mess that up because there is no right way to do it. Then I am going to do a paint pen for this part just because it's so skinny. I can't really do this with a brush. So I sketched that out. And then I'm going to do the little stitch marks all along the scarecrow mouth like the original. Then I'm going to use that same paint pen to kind of outline the little candy corn nose, just to kind of make that pop a little bit. And I think he's looking really sweet. What do you guys think? Now, the original one said like Happy Harvest. I only have room for like maybe one word on my pillow, so I chose Harvest, and I'm just using a white paint pen. And I'm just going to do cursive handwriting, kind of like what they used, and try to get it on here. I noticed that, I painted it so much this gold color that it kind of wanted to soak in. It wasn't super white. And whatever you do, don't do that. What I did was when I was concentrating so hard on painting Harvest, I put my arm in the orange paint on his nose and it was not dry yet. And I got it all over my poor little scarecrow's face. But I was able to get most of it off. Now I go back in with another coat to kind of make this more visible up here because it really kind of faded all the way in. And I went back with a third coat and it still kind of looked like the original like burlap color, but hey, at least you could read it now, so I think I'm happy with it. Now everything else is kind of outlined, so I thought I should outline the hat too. So I used my black paint pen just to do a nice straight line here, just to kind of make this look a little bit neater up here for the top of the scarecrow hat. And I think that's about all of the pieces of his design, and now we can start building a cute little fall pillow. I'm going to start at the top just by doing a bead of hot glue along the top and then measure that up here with the top piece and just kind of push that together. Make sure you don't burn yourself with the hot glue. Those little fingertip protectors from Dollar Tree always seem to disappear from my workbench, so I just got some new ones, thank goodness, because I burn myself way too much with hot glue. So if you get any hot glue sticking out or threads, you can always trim it up a little bit to make it look nicer. Then we're going to go in and do a bead of hot glue along both sides, working quickly so it doesn't set up. Then lay this back down, leaving the bottom of the pillow open so that we can stuff it. Now, I always like to save my old bed pillows and stuff like that to use the polyfill for crafting because I'm always making pillows and stuff like that. And so that's what I'm using. And polyfill is just too expensive to purchase. I never purchase it. I always use old pillows. So I just pull it out. I kind of like to use smaller pieces because I don't really want any lumpy surfaces in my pillow. And I just kind of keep filling it until I get it nice and fat. I don't want it too full here at the bottom because I still need to close it, which is what I'm going to do with another bead of hot glue along the bottom. And then just lay it flat and glue all of the fluff in there. Kind of looks like a sack pillow or something like that, which I guess it kind of is a bag pillow. But I think it turned out so cute. I'm going to display this in my entryway, on my hall tree. It's just an adorable little fall pillow. I absolutely love the design. I think we got pretty close to the original, just maybe on a smaller scale. Isn't he cute? I love scarecrows. So let me show you the original that we were trying to dupe from Kirkland's. It was regularly $39.99. And says Happy Harvest, a cute little burlap scarecrow face. And here is our Dollar Tree version. So it cost $1.25 for the bag, free fluff, and just a little bit of paint to make this adorable face and hat. And I love him. He's so cute. I might have to make another one. Maybe a girl one. That would be cute to go with him. And I wanted to take a quick moment out of today's video and let you know about my Facebook group. I always have it linked in the description below. We will love it if you joined us. You'll find out when I post new videos. I know some of you guys have been saying you haven't been getting notifications. Maybe turn it off and turn it back on. I don't know why YouTube's doing that. I also have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, and Threads, and my handle is Crafty Beach on YouTube. Okay, next Kirkland dupe is this tan burlap fall book stack decoration, regularly $19.99 at Kirkland's. It is adorable, and I thought we could do a Dollar Tree version really easily. Now, they have a book stack for fall. It looks like this. It's a little plain. It's not too bad, though. And so we are just going to use, again, one of those burlap bags from the Dollar Tree. This is half of one that I have left over from another craft project because you guys know I craft with it all the time. I love it. And I thought we could cover the top, front, and bottom with this bag, and it's going to give us that same burlap feel from the original. And we can even do gold lettering for the books to give it that same feel. So I just cut out the front panel of this. Again, I just want a rectangle of the synthetic burlap. And then I just need to cut it down to size, a strip that's going to cover the bottom, the side, and the top there. So I was kind of thinking how I want to do it. I covered every surface except for the back, maybe because the back was just cardboard already. And it's kind of supposed to be book pages back there. We can't really see it back there, so it doesn't matter. So I just use an ink pen and draw out the bottom. And then as you can see, I just flip it as I go. So I get one long piece that we can use for all of the books. Now, if you wanted to use this to cover actual books, that would be super cute as well. In the original, it kind of looked like a book stack like this, but maybe a little fancier one. So I just cut that down to size, and then we can just attach this all in one piece. I will cut it later to make it look like individual books, but I'm just going to start right here on the top just by lining it up like that with the excess going on the front. I just do a layer of Mod Podge. Even though that has that plastic coating, you can use Mod Podge. It does take a little bit extra time to dry though, for the plastic on there. And then I'm just going to line it right up like this. Now, since it is a rather thick burlap, I didn't think that you'd really be able to see the writing on here. So I went ahead and did Mod Podge first and then laid this down and smoothed that out. When I realized that you could still kind of read thankful and blessed and stuff like that through there. And I kind of realized that when I was kind of creasing it, and I'm going to add new titles to it. And I didn't know if you would be able to see that. It kind of bothered me. So I was at a step where I could just pull it back up, wipe off the Mod Podge, and then disguise the writing on there a little bit by just using a little bit of white paint. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to mask it. Do a coat of white all over the front. And as you can see, the Mod Podge on that plastic just stayed wet for me, so that'll help. But once I got it dry, I did add a little bit to the books itself because I want each one of these to be glued down to each book because we are going to cut those in just a moment. And I'm covering the bottom of my book sack. I mean, you probably wouldn't need to, but I kind of wanted that feel that the book wrapper went all the way around the book, kind of like the original. So I Mod Podge that to the bottom, pulling everything as tight as I can to it and let that dry. Then I go back in with a razor blade and I just cut out in that little seam between each one. And I kind of go back in there with a Cricut weeder, really try to emphasize that I felt like you still couldn't really see that there were separate books. So while my Mod Podge had a little bit of play in there, I was able to kind of rearrange it a little bit so you could see like a slight gap between each book. And I liked that look a little bit better. So now it's just a matter of making book titles. I'm going to use my Cricut. It looks like they're about 1 inch wide. And I am going to share my Cricut file for this if you want to recreate. And I'm just going to use some gold vinyl that I had in one of those like variety packs of like 12 by 12 vinyl off Amazon. And I probably should have chose the foil setting. I don't think I realized really that this was like a gold foil, which I guess makes sense because it's metallic, right? But if you don't cut it like super good when you're using a foil, like if I would have used the foil setting, it probably wouldn't have been this hard to weed. Because as you can see, I was struggling, but I was also determined that I was not going to recut this. So if you make any mistakes and your letters come up, as long as you get them back down on that original sheet, get them lined up properly, you won't have any trouble. It could have also been that that was a little bit of a fancier font because this one really didn't give me much trouble at all. I did the same titles that were on theirs, except I modified this last one a little bit because theirs said like, leaves are falling, autumn is calling, and there is no way I was going to weed letters that small. No way. And it was like so much on there that I didn't think you'd really be able to, you know, read it either. So I have enough trouble with this size weeding. I think this is probably my limit. And we got them all 3 on my paper transfer paper. I'll just cut that down into strips. I get that paper transfer paper on Amazon. It's always linked in my Amazon shop below. And I'm going to use that to start transferring these on here. I'm going to do them kind of in the same order. Fall is my favorite on the top book. And I love that gold vinyl. I will definitely have to get some more of this because it turned out so cool. And I would have never thought to put the gold on the burlap like this if I hadn't seen the original that we're duping from Kirkland's. So the second one said Autumn Skies. And then the last one, I just said leaves are falling. And check it out. I think it turned out so cute. I don't want to take away from that beautiful shimmer of the gold, so I'm not going to seal it down, but I think it's going to stay on there pretty good. That vinyl seemed pretty sticky. And here was our original tan burlap fall book stack, regularly $19.99 at Kirkland's. And then our DIY Dollar Tree book stack. Isn't it beautiful? I love the burlap covering the books. I don't know why I never thought to use burlap for that. And I love the subtle colors. Again, super cute for like a neutral fall decor. Okay, are you ready for another Kirkland's dupe? On our next one, we're going to do this Hello Pumpkin beaded hanging wall plaque from Kirkland's, regularly $29.99. And we are going to try to DIY this with items from the Dollar Tree. So I started with one of the wood pumpkins from Dollar Tree that you can find every year, some wood beads from Dollar Tree that are strung, some leaves, and I found a great metal hello sign that really looks like the hello on the front of the original sign. So we're going to have it hanging differently like the original. So I just filled the hole in the top of the pumpkin stem in with a little spackle because we're not going to need that. And then I'm just going to go over the whole pumpkin with ivory paint. I have some chalk paint. I think I probably need to put water on it because as you can see, this was thick, but hey, it was one coat coverage, so I guess I can't complain, right? So I just went over the whole pumpkin with that. The original had like 2/3 of the pumpkin being orange and like 1/3 of it being white. And so I'm going to try to set mine up similarly. I really liked the colors and everything that was going on the original. So once I get the ivory paint dry, I'm going to use some painter's tape and kind of figure about 2/3 of the pumpkin and try to lay that as level as I can on there. Then we're going to go in with some acrylic paint. I'm just using the color pumpkin. And we're just going to paint the top part of the pumpkin. I will paint the stem a different color, but for now, I'm just going to go ahead and paint everything this pumpkin orange color. Very traditional, very pumpkin color. I mean, they even name it that. Just do a nice coat all over. And then once I get that dry, I'm going to release my painter's tape. I used some quality like 3M painter's tape. And so I didn't have very much bleeding, so I was happy with the straight line. I did have a couple areas there where you could see a little bit of the ivory coming through. So I did touch that up first and gave it another dry. And the final reveal, look at that crisp line. I love doing that. Now, I'm going to attach the hello to the top, kind of like theirs looked like they had a black hello word. I can't believe I found the same thing at Dollar Tree. But again, I wanted the pumpkin stem not to be orange, so I'm just using this like teddy bear, I think color it is. Just a light brown color. Really any kind of brown color I think would be good. And then just kind of like doing like little triangular shapes here at the bottom, kind of irregularly, kind of making that look like a pumpkin stem. And that was the only challenging part of that, is to kind of make this part down here look a little bit more natural. The trick is to make it like not quite so uniform. And then I'm just going to use a white paint pen to do the little pumpkin sections like the original. That one had 4. This has like kind of an obvious area there at the bottom where the middle 2 would be. So I'm just kind of eyeballing that because again, you won't have that on the bottom part because the bottom part is white. So you're only doing this top like 2/3. And I just kind of sketch those out, kind of arch shape. Don't have to be perfect, but it really kind of adds a little bit of fun and dimension to the top part of the pumpkin. Here is the hello word that I found at Dollar Tree. It's perfect. The only thing that's not perfect about it is that it is on a pedestal and I just need the hello word. And it was soldered on there so well. So I grabbed my pliers and I kind of go to town on this. I know that with yardsticks, if you bend them back, and forth enough, you'll get them to break. And this was no different. So I just kind of grabbed it as close as I could to the word hello and then just bent it back and forth until that popped off. Now I did leave a little tab still on here and I really did try to get that off and I could not get that off. So I'm just going to end up painting it black and hoping it kind of like fades into the design. It is not super noticeable. And if it's not silver like that, I use a little black paint pen, add a little black to it. It's not going to be the end of the world, but it was on there. I couldn't get it off. But how cute is that little wire hello word? It is perfect. It's the right color. It's the right size. And it's going to go on this orange part of the pumpkin, just like in the Kirkland's original. I just flatten it out, make sure it's going to be nice and level to attach to the pumpkin. It's going to say hello, and then it's going to say pumpkin on the bottom. So what I do is just going to measure. I have about 3 inches by 11 inches kind of down there. And I'm going to cut out the word pumpkin in black vinyl to kind of get a similar look to what the original. They kind of did theirs small, thin letters that don't really pop. And I kind of want mine to pop, so I do cut mine a little bit bolder, you'll see. And then I just knot some of that Dollar Tree wood beads and hot glue it to the back of the pumpkin sign. I did it like this because this was kind of how it looked in the original. But feel free to drill holes in there if you want to tie yours on. Kind of went back and forth on that decision. But this is not a very heavy sign, so I think that's going to be strong enough. Lots of wood beads on there, just like the one that we're duping. And then theirs had a green leaf. I did try it with like the yellow color, which I kind of liked. But, you know, this little variety pack does have a green. So I was trying to get as close as I could to the original. So I decided to use the green color like they did. And they just had theirs kind of attached to the pumpkin stem up here on the right. So we're going to do the same thing on our little dupe. I love duping items from like high-end stores like this. You can get some really good ideas, but if they do something that you don't like, you're always free to kind of make yours better or your own way for sure. So I think that looks pretty good. And then we'll need to attach the word hello here to this section. I just kind of study it and see what's laying flat. And it looked like this part of the H and this part of the O. So I just put hot glue on those two areas. I think that will be enough to secure that little metal hello to our pumpkin sign. I think that was really a great find. I didn't have to paint it or anything. And then I just used black vinyl and cut out the word pumpkin for the bottom. I did do kind of a skinny plain font, which is similar to the original. I just made mine a lot bigger because I really kind of wanted it to pop that it was said hello pumpkin, because I really wanted the sign to be whimsical. So I just used my paper transfer paper. And now we can attach that to our sign. I thought about making a stencil, but I think vinyl is going to be absolutely fine on this. I just line it up here in the white section of our pumpkin and attach that. The only thing I didn't like about the black vinyl is that it was like a glossy vinyl that I had. It was just a scrap piece I was glad to use up, but everything else is kind of a matte sheen. You know, the paint dries very matte, so to get that same sheen for the vinyl, I just seal it with some matte Mod Podge. That's going to seal the vinyl down, but it's also going to take away some of the glossiness. And I kind of continue that up the sides of my pumpkin. Couldn't do too much there because I already attached the word hello. Just making sure I don't have any little black pieces of foam in there, and this is how it turned out, our little hello pumpkin sign. I think it's adorable. This is what we were trying to dupe, the hello pumpkin sign from Kirkland's, regularly $29.99 at Kirkland's. And then let me show you our Dollar Tree version. I think we got pretty close. What do you guys think? We've got the metal hello word, we've got the orange and white pumpkin, the green leaf, the wood beads. And I really like how mine kind of screams pumpkin, but you could always make your font smaller. I will share my Cricut file for that as well, but it's a super easy cut. I love it. I think it's really fun. Okay, the next item we're going to try to do from Kirkland's is an autumn's tree canvas art print, regularly $99.99, really large one. But I kind of took the idea and designed my own autumn tree art print, and it's the first time that I've ever taken a photo and made it into a painting, and I think it turned out really cool. So I designed it to be a square, and I designed it to fit in perfectly to one of these little square signs from Dollar Tree. Theirs was like an unframed canvas, but I always like all of my artwork to be framed. So this has a little frame edge along the sides. So I think it's going to be perfect. Again, I don't like the hanger that really comes on these, so I just replaced that with a little bit of twine, using some hot glue to make sure it feeds through and knotting it off on the front. Now I will share this printable of this fall scene that I designed. I took a fall picture, and using Canva, I converted it into a painting, and I'm kind of obsessed with how well it turned out. This frame is about 8.5 inches by 8.5 inches is what I designed the image to be, but my printer will not do borderless at this size. So I am going to have a slight border here on the top and the bottom, but that's okay. It's just going to make it fit nicely. And I just kind of trim my two sides down slightly until it fits in my frame. And this was such an easy DIY. I'm just going to put a coat of Mod Podge down. And again, I printed that printable out on cardstock just because I like working with that better with Mod Podge. And I get my cardstock in the big reams at Target. It's actually a good time to buy it this time of year. School supplies are on sale. And then I just lay it right here on top of the Mod Podge, gluing it down, no wrinkles or anything, which is one reason why I love the cardstock. And I will definitely share this free printable with you as well. I absolutely love how it turned out. It was a picture like of a fall road with some people walking down it. When I turned it into a painting, you can barely tell that there's people on it anymore, but I think it looks really cool. Now, once I got it dry, I went over the top of it with more Mod Podge, kind of working horizontally. I really want that brush stroke because that texture is going to kind of go with the look of a painting, which is what I wanted to go for. So easy. I think one coat of Mod Podge is all that's going to need to seal that. We're going to leave the frame as is, and here's my little fall scene of autumn trees. A little different than the original, but I think I kind of captured the same kind of feel of an autumn tree painting. So they're the one we were trying to dupe for $99.99, and here is my Dollar Tree version with my free printable that I designed. Isn't that cool? I'm going to have to make more things look like paintings because I think that's so cool. And it really reminds me of an autumn road. I think it turned out so fun, and that was so easy to DIY. Now, the next item we're going to try to dupe from Kirkland's are these Happy Fall plaid wood pumpkins. We're just going to do one of them. I thought we could do the one that says, "Let's Get Cozy," and they're regularly $59.99. For this set at Kirkland's, and we're going to do the same thing with one of these Dollar Tree wood pumpkins. It's got the same wood bump out sections on the front as those, so we can just totally make this our own. So I'm just going to remove the little raffia that was on there and any hot glue, and we can start painting this pumpkin to kind of make it look like the original. The original had like a ivory or white background, and then it had fall plaid on the bump out parts. Now they must have designed that plaid for that because I could not find a fall plaid anywhere near that fall plaid, so it must be a custom design that they used. So I just found a fall plaid that was as close as I could get to it, and we're going to try to make it work. But I just go over the whole pumpkin, front panels, back panels, everything with ivory. Just because it's inevitable, you're going to get it on the front pieces anyway. You might as well make them look uniform by having everything be the same color. Now here is the plaid image that I designed. The colors are similar. The pattern is similar. It's got a little bit more going on than theirs, but I think we can get pretty close with it. And I will share that free printable too. I just printed this one out on regular paper because I wanted to be able to sand it easily around these little pumpkin sections. And we're just going to Mod Podge it here to those sections all at once. That way the design will continue from one piece to the next, and I don't have to worry about lining it all up. So I just put it on top of all three of the little pumpkin sections and dry that on there. Now it's a matter of trying to kind of feel the little area between the sections. And then I just used a razor blade to kind of cut my paper so that I have like 3 different little pieces of paper so that we can then sand the paper down and get exact cuts for those little pumpkin sections. I'm going to use my little finger sander. The finger sander is kind of key for this. I got mine at Target, I think, because you can really get in between the little pumpkin sections. And as you can see, it will give you a perfect cut on that little raised section. And this is definitely the easiest way I have found to decorate the front parts of these with paper. And I'm really glad I decided to do it all at one time too, so I didn't have to worry about lining up that intricate plaid pattern. So we got our first section. We're just going to keep going, doing the same thing, just sanding until it kind of breaks away here all on its own. And go over this little section here. And the original piece that we're duping from Kirkland's was a standing pumpkin like this. This was a hanging sign. But we're just going to convert this and make it a standing sign so it'll be closer to the original. And we're even going to make a little tag to hang down in front like the original too. So here is our final section, sanded to perfection. I am going to touch up a little bit of my ivory paint. I might have like kind of bumped here and there with the sandpaper. And I thought my pattern was a little bold. I'll show you how I tone it down in just a second. I do want to make sure it's good and sealed first though. So I do go over the top with more Mod Podge, working in thin coats because again, I use just regular printer paper for this. And I will share this plaid printable with you as well if you want to DIY with this. It's basically the same size as this sheet of paper. Once I got that dry, I decided to go over it with ivory, acrylic, a very thin coat, following that up with a wet baby wipe to kind of give me a whitewash. Because again, this was a lot bolder pattern than the original. So I was trying to tone down the color a little bit if I could. But if you like your plaid design, you know, that step is totally optional. But I really kind of like the plaid look on the pumpkin. Very fall. It reminds me of a fuzzy like flannel shirt. Now, these are the tags that we're going to use. These are the little wood tags from Dollar Tree. It's a little bit different shape than the original, but it's got a hole to hang it, so I think it'll work perfectly. So I just paint my tag with ivory acrylic, the same color that we painted the back of the pumpkin. And you can use your Cricut for the word on there. I'm just going to freehand it just because I didn't really want to use my Cricut again. I'm not a big fan of weeding small letters. It can be a big issue. I also add another layer of whitewash on here just to tone down that plaid a little bit more. Kind of make it look hazy like that. And old, which is kind of the look I was going for. Now for the tag, I decided I didn't have a brown Sharpie, but I had a gold one. So I'm just going to freehand on here what it said on this original. It said, let's get cozy. Let's get in smaller case letters and then cozy all in caps. Now I noticed that my gold combined with the ivory paint really kind of looked gray. So I switched to my bronze Sharpie. I have so many Sharpie colors. I love them. And just sketched it out again. And then I distressed that with a little ivory to make it look not so much like marker and a little bit more distressed. And it would be more perfect with a Cricut, but hey, we're going with it. Now, for the leaves, the only leaves that I had from the Dollar Tree were these little burlap leaves. I think they're so cute. And so that's what we're going to use for our pumpkin leaves. I think they had metal leaves on the original piece, but we're going to do 2 with the little burlap leaves. I think that's going to go nicely right there on this side of the pumpkin stem. It's also going to cover the hanger hole, which we don't need anymore. So I just hot glue those to the pumpkin stem. I absolutely love those little burlap leaves and flowers they have now. I've been crafting with those a lot. Now they just hung their little tag straight directly in the front, in the center. So I'm going to do the same. just by taking some Dollar Tree twine and looping this through and knotting it off, hanging it about the same area as the original. And I'm just going to do that by hot gluing the little knot right here, kind of where the little burlap leaves come together, and let that dangle down in front. They also had like a little rope bow, so I decided to kind of get a similar look by using that same twine from the Dollar Tree, tying a very simple little bow and attaching that with hot glue right there where all of that kind of comes together. Now it's time to make a base. I'm going to use some of the little Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use 6 of them. Sometimes they come in the variety where some of them are like this dark brown color. So I'm going to glue 3 of them side to side like that for the back. And then I'm going to do the same thing here for the front. It's going to give me a little custom stand that's just the right size for our pumpkin. And it's actually strong enough to make it stand up on its own. I don't really like the color of them like that. So I decided to kind of paint in Distress Mine to kind of make them look like wood. So I kind of try to fill in my cracks between the different pieces with a little bit of spackle. You still can kind of see it, but I'm fine with that. So to get the wood look, I just go over them with ivory, distressing that brown color first, and kind of wiping off the excess there with a paper towel, kind of give a whitewash look to start with. And since there's no wood grain on there, I'm going to follow that up with some Antique Wax by Waverly and a chunky brush to kind of give me a faux wood grain. And it just kind of made the little stand look a lot better. And you definitely don't have to have the darker pieces. You could totally do the same thing with the lighter ones. I just never use the darker ones, so I thought I might as well use them because I have them. So I'm going to put hot glue here along my back stand and hot glue along my front stand. Then I'm going to sandwich my pumpkin in between. Kind of have to act quickly and squeeze it all together, making sure that like your pumpkin is standing right up. You kind of want it leaning back slightly because you don't want it to tip over. And you kind of have to hold it until it dries enough to set up. And then I also decided to add a little extra hot glue in the gaps on the bottom just to make it a little bit stronger. And that's it to our little Kirkland's Let's Get Cozy Pumpkin dupe. Again, I didn't get the plaid the same, but I think I got it pretty close. And I think it looks really cute for fall decor. Again, it reminds me of an old fuzzy flannel shirt that you'd wear in the fall or the winter. So I guess this could go from fall to winter, actually. And here was the original Happy Fall plaid wood pumpkin that I was trying to emulate from Kirkland's. And my Dollar Tree dupe. I think it's really cute. It was so easy to make. I love those little section pumpkins like that from the Dollar Tree. I'm always looking for ways to get creative in decorating those. And the little Jenga block stand worked perfectly. So our little Let's Get Cozy plaid pumpkin. I hope you enjoyed those Kirkland's dupes. Our next set of fall Dollar Tree DIYs are going to be candle DIYs. I put together 20 different fall candle DIYs using supplies from the Dollar Tree. So let's get started. So the first DIY we're going to do is one of these little orange pumpkin dishes. It even has a lid. From the Dollar Tree, I think this is going to make a perfect fall candle. For the candle wax, we are just going to melt down one of the Dollar Tree long candles. I chose white. Doesn't really matter. You can do yours whatever color you want, but white's going to kind of go with anything. And then I got one of these wick kits from Amazon, only $4.99 on Prime. You get 100 wicks, stickers, and even the little popsicle sticks to hold the wick up. And I'll be sure to include those in my Amazon shop because that was a really great deal and it made making candles a lot easier. We're also going to scent our candle. I am actually going to use this scent. It is Bartlett Pear Cider, just because I couldn't find pumpkin scent at Dollar Tree. So I went ahead and popped it in some boiling water in an old pan on my stove. You might need to kind of push some of the wax down in it as it melts to get it to all melt. And then we are going to go ahead and set this up. So you just take one of their little double-sided stickers, put it in the bottom, and then you just attach the candle wick to it. It was really so easy, and then just string the popsicle stick in for spacing. I'm going to go ahead and get my fragrance oil ready to scent it, and it is all liquefied and ready for scent. This did not have a dropper, so I couldn't really count my drops, but I was trying to do maybe about 20 drops. I just went ahead and kind of fished out the wick that was already in there, and you can kind of smell it. If you think it needs a little bit more, go crazy. The fragrance oil, from Dollar Tree is only $1.25, and I picked up some scents that would remind me of fall today. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour this right in. I think it was a perfect amount of wax for this size. So I'm just going to let this sit. It's going to set up and harden into a beautiful scented candle. It really doesn't take too long to set up, and I'm just going to go ahead and remove the popsicle stick and trim the wick down to like maybe quarter to half of an inch, and this DIY is complete. I think it's great. It'll help keep the scent in the candle because it has a lid, so that is helpful. So this is our first fall candle. I think it's really cute. I don't know if they have those pumpkins in any other colors or not for fall. You'll have to let me know in the comments below. But I think they are perfect for a fall candle. And making your own candle like this is really a lot of fun. I had so much fun putting all these candle DIYs together. So let's go ahead and light this candle. See how it smells. My house is going to smell fabulous this fall because I'm going to have plenty of fall candles for every room. Love it. Okay, next one. I thought we could take this like little vase. I guess it's like a hurricane-shaped vase from Dollar Tree, and kind of make a fun like acorn candle holder using one of these are the little glass candle holders. They come 4 to a package. I really love these. I need to get some more because I think I used all of them in the video today. I'm just going to turn it upside down and sit it in the bottom. It fits in there perfectly, but it's going to allow me to raise my candle up that I want to put in the middle. Now for the candle we're going to use on this is from the Dollar Tree. I really like these little votive candles from the Dollar Tree. You get 2 in a package. They're already in glass. And since they kind of have like a wall, I can go ahead and decorate mine if I want. So I picked up some of this birch ribbon. It looks like birch wood from the Dollar Tree, and it's a nice wide piece. So what I'm going to do is try to cover the candle, kind of make it look like a birch log. I thought that would be really fun for fall. So it's a little larger than my candle, which I'm going to kind of use that to my advantage because I kind of have to go around this odd shape, right? So I just used hot glue to attach it to the candle hole itself, and then I wrapped it around and glued it to itself. Now I have it a little bit longer on the top and the bottom, and I can just go around and trim it down to perfect size, and it's going to look like a cute little birch log. I love this ribbon. I think it's really beautiful. I think it looks really rustic for fall or for winter. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim the bottom down too. Now I can attach that candle inside on the little candle holder that we put upside down. So I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue so that we can kind of tack that down right here in the middle, just so it won't move around a lot because that is a real candle. All the candles we're doing today are real candles because I want to burn my candles for fall. I don't want any of the LED or electric candles for fall. But you could always modify my DIYs and use whatever is more convenient for your home. Now it's time for the acorns. These are from the Dollar Tree. I found that they have 2 different sizes. So these are the smaller ones, and I have a bunch saved over from last year, so I'm going to use those too. And I'm just sprinkling those all around the little birch candle holder in there, filling up the sides of the vase. They're kind of too large to go all the way down in the bottom of the vase, but that's okay because it kind of is clear down there because we have the little candle holder upside down. But I thought it would look cute to add a little raffia, like a little raffia nest down around the base of the candle holder. And so I just take a package from the Dollar Tree. I really don't like working with this stuff because it's kind of messy. So I'm going to kind of leave it as is. I'm just going to try to cut out enough of it to go all the way around the bottom, and it's just going to provide another little rustic fall touch. We've got the acorns, we've got the birch log, so add a little raffia. I think that's going to look really good. So I just kind of cut that down to size, and then I needed something to kind of give it shape, to kind of make it like a wreath form. And I thought the easiest way to do that would be to use some of this wire jute from Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to cut a piece down, and I'm going to attach it to one side here of my raffia and just kind of use that as my wiry form just by bending it and then attaching it to the other end. I can pull it around and use that wire in there to attach it to itself. And we're going to have just a little raffia base to this. It's just going to add another little fun touch. So I think that looks good. I think I made it just the right size just to slip on the bottom of the vase. I love these vases. I think they're a beautiful size and shape, and they're from Dollar Tree, so I think they are a great value as well. So I think that looks pretty good. We have a little acorn wreath, maybe just a trim here and there to kind of clean up some of the raffia. But I'm glad I added that touch. I think it really looks cute. So let me show you our little acorn candle. I really think it is perfect for fall. I've seen so many ideas on the internet for like fall candle DIYs, and I've seen acorns used a lot, and it's because they just scream fall. And I really like these. They're like a yellowish, brownish, maybe a little bit of red, lots of color in these acorns, and you don't have to paint them like the wooden ones. So let's light this fall candle up and see how it looks. Super cute and so easy to DIY. And this is how it looks with a little bit less light. Okay, check out this cute little planter that I found at Dollar Tree. It's a little squirrel named Skip. So I thought that would be really cute to do a little fall squirrel candle. Isn't he adorable? The only thing I noticed is that his painting was not great, so I will have to touch him up a little bit. He also has that space inside the like squirrel body because I wanted to make this into a candle, and I don't really want to fill that whole thing up with wax. So again, I'm going to use one of these little candle holders from the Dollar Tree. It fits in there perfectly. And then we can use some apple cinnamon fragrance oil for this one. That's a nice fall scent. Again, I couldn't find any pumpkin scents at my Dollar Tree, so I had to kind of work with what I could find. And then again, I'm using one of the long white candles from the Dollar Tree. It's not going to require the whole thing, but we can always use it on our next candles. So boiling those, we're going to go ahead and set up this candle. Just putting the double-sided tape. It's a little circle there right in the middle, and a wick and a popsicle stick for this one. Now, if you didn't want to create your own scented fall candle for this one, you could always use a little tea light candle in there. That would be perfect. Or if you didn't want to use the candle holder part at all, you could just put a votive in there. I think that'd be really cute too. I just love the squirrel. He's painted well except for the little white part. So I decided while my candle was melting, I'll just go ahead and touch him up a little bit. And I just have it in an old pot on my stove, you know, boiling water until it melts. And you do have to have a little patience. It does take a while to melt that much wax, but it's a fun, inexpensive way to make your own candles using supplies from the Dollar Tree. So here it is. It's all melted. I'm going to go ahead and scent it before I pour it in here. So again, this was our apple cinnamon fragrance oil. It's from the Dollar Tree. The difference is this one has like a little dropper lid. So you do have to kind of count drops. So I'm going to put like 20 drops in there and stir it. See if it smells good. You can add as much or little as scent as you want. You can also use essential oils if you have them. I just used fragrance oils because they were readily available from my Dollar Tree. So I thought it needed a little bit more scent. Now we're ready to pour it in. Make sure you use pot holders because these things are hot And I'm just going to fill up my candle holder almost all the way full and then let it sit. It turned into this beautiful white scented candle. I'm just going to trim my wick on this one and pop it right in our little squirrel. I love these little planters. I've never thought about making one into a candle before, but I think it's perfect for that. And wouldn't this look cute like on a fall tier tray or something like that? I think he's adorable. So here's Skip the squirrel. And I think that is just a fun idea. He's holding an acorn, so he is ready for fall. They have a lot of like woodland creatures right now at Dollar Tree, like little squirrels, I think like hedgehogs. I picked up some of them. I do plan to be doing a DIY with some of those creatures. I did a tier tray last year that was so cute. So let's light this little scented candle, see how he looks. Smells wonderful. I love the apple cinnamon fragrance. Okay, since we have some leftover wax, let's go ahead and DIY something else really quickly. And I got one of these little candle holders from Dollar Tree. It's brown. It's beautiful. It's got like a gold like leaf on it that's like really kind of like intricately carved. And I think this is going to be a beautiful candle. Now, I couldn't really get my hands down in there to put the little sticker down in there for the wick, so you kind of have to make do. I have a plastic knife that I was using to stir my candle, so I'm going to use that to kind of put that down in there and stick it to the bottom, and then also to attach the wick to it and get this popsicle stick set up before our wax starts to set up on me. So that looks good. So let's go ahead and pour in the rest of our wax. This was a little bit larger than I thought it was, and so it didn't fill it up as much as I wanted, but it was already melting another one because we have so many candle DIYs today that I was able to take a little bit of wax from theirs as well to fill it up till I was happy with it. I am going to give it a quick stir though so that the fragrance gets kind of all mixed in with the candle. And then we're going to let this sit, and it turned out so cute. Look how adorable this little candle holder is. And having your own custom like little fall scented candle inside, I think it's so pretty, and I think it's a lot more fun than putting like a votive in there. Look how beautiful that little leaf is on the front of it. They have these in several different colors at my Dollar Tree, but I really think this like amber color really screams fall. And so I think this is going to go great with my fall decor. It's nice and small too, so you could also get away with this on a tier tray if you'd like. So let's light this candle, see how it looks. Beautiful fall glow and super cozy. I have a candle burning that I DIY'd right now while I'm doing the voiceover, and it already smells so great in here. Okay, then the next one, we're going to use one of these like larger vases from the Dollar Tree and some of their maple leaves to do a like maple leaf candle holder. Now, there's lots of different colors in this package, and you could make yours colorful by choosing different colors, but I thought I would just pick one color and kind of like stick to that. So I'm just going to kind of separate them. You get like a ton of leaves in that package. Now, I want to show you a couple of fails because it'll save you from some fails, right? I saw like on a blog, I think, somebody make one of these, and they said just to Mod Podge them on. So I was like, oh, okay. So I put Mod Podge all over the back of my leaf. I put Mod Podge on my vase. I stick it on there. I have it so wet, it will not stick to my vase for anything. I turn it upside down. It won't stick. I went back, looked at the blog again, and they said to really like drown it in Mod Podge. And so I tried that too. It totally did not work. I could not get it to work. So I'm like, okay, I want to attach the fall leaves to the outside of this vase, but Mod Podge is clearly not going to be my friend on this one. This is me drowning it on their advice. And let me show you what happens. It just doesn't stick at all. I don't know how in the world they got theirs to stick. And so I was like trying to think maybe my glue is like too thin. Mod Podge is a pretty, thin glue, so I decided to switch it up to a thicker glue like this tacky glue from the Dollar Tree. It's nice and strong, right? So I just went ahead and put it all over the inside of the leaf, stuck it on there, and even tacky glue was not going to give me the hold that I needed to make that like curved and go around my vase. So 2 fails in a row, but then I do find a winner, and I just go back to the tried and true hot glue method. I don't want to use a lot of hot glue on them though. So I'm just going to do like a little dot in each little corner of the maple leaf and one in the middle. And this worked perfectly, and way less work than the Mod Podge would have been if I were to try to continue that, because there was just no way that was going to stay around that curved surface for me on that glossy glass. So this is the color that I chose to use, and I'm going to kind of alternate them around, going different directions and stuff like that, using like either 1 or 2 in each area. I don't want it to be too full. I want it to kind of look like little fall leaves, like just falling through the air. So I do like a 2, 1, 2, 1 kind of pattern here, if you will. I kind of want it to be consistent and going all the way around. Again, it doesn't really matter which direction I go. I kind of want it to be random. So I think 1 more is going to fill it out very nicely. So I had many fails on this, but I wanted to go ahead and include them for you so that you don't make the same mistake as me, because it's not as easy as they say it is to attach the leaves with that. And if you had fall leaves in your yard, I don't, but if you did, you could always attach real leaves as well. Now I thought it'd be cute to add another little decorative touch to the bottom with some of this berry garland from the Dollar Tree. And we can just kind of string that around the bottom. It's going to add another little fall decorative touch, but it's not going to be too busy or anything like that. This kind of has like little red and orange berries. It's going to go nicely with the color of the leaves that we chose. So I just string it around the vase, tie it to itself because it's wired, and then just wrap it around a couple of times until I think it looks good. And I think that just provides another little fun fall touch. And then the next step will be to put a candle in there. We're going to use a Dollar Tree scented candle, so we're not going to be making one for this one. So I'll show you some easier options here too, where you can just pop a Dollar Tree candle in it. This is how it looks so far. I think it's really pretty. I love those color of fall leaves. Very pretty. Since I moved to Florida, I really miss fall. That's one thing that most of us that live down here probably would say. So my son and I always like to take fall trips to like Asheville, places like that. Last year we went to West Virginia to see the fall leaves. And now that he's away at college, I'm kind of bummed because I don't know if I'll be able to do that trip, but it's always fun seeing the leaves change colors, even if it's just for a small trip. So I used one of the vanilla scented pillar candles from Dollar Tree. I thought it was a little too short. Now, this is what it looks like with one of the taller LED like battery operated candles. If you liked that, you could totally use that. But again, I wanted real candles today. And so I'm going to find a way to make the smaller pillar from Dollar Tree work. And to do that, I'm just going to use another one of those little candle holders just upside down like this. And then just stick the candle right on top. It's my last one. I'm going to have to find more of those because I love those things. And that's just going to boost my candle up, make it taller, make it a little bit easier to see in that large vase. But let me show you how this turned out. I think it's so cute. Even after multiple fails, it actually turned into a really fun fall candle with little falling orange and red leaves all over. And a little berry garland there at the bottom. I think that's really pretty, and I'm ready to light this one up. These are vanilla scented, which aren't really specifically for fall, but I think vanilla scent can kind of work any time of year. It's a nice soft smell, and I think it smells wonderful. Okay, the next DIY, I got one of these little orange jars. I call them a pumpkin jar from the kitchen section at Dollar Tree. They're really large and they're orange and I think they look like a pumpkin. So let's find it a pumpkin stem using one of these little wood stems from the Dollar Tree. I'm trying to find a perfect one that I can just put on the jar lid. Now, it's great when a scented candle has a lid because you can seal the scent in there and keep it well scented. So I don't want something that's going to interfere with me being able to screw the lid on and off. But I thought having a pumpkin stem would actually make it look a little bit more like a pumpkin. So I am melting down one of the large white candles from the Dollar Tree again. I have some fragrance oil. This time I'm going to use marshmallow fluff. I think that could be fine for fall. So I'm going to go ahead and put one of the little candle wick stickers down here inside. This is a really large jar, so it's going to require a couple candles to fill this up. And I'm going to go ahead and attach the wick. Luckily, the wicks are really long because even though it's a really big jar, it was totally long enough to still go in my little popsicle stick, which is so handy with the little holes drilled in it. I'm going to use some of the little wire jute for a little tendril for our pumpkin stem. So here's our candles boiling away. So I'm going to went ahead and did 2 just for this one because I knew it was such a large candle that it was going to require a lot of wax. So let's go ahead and scent it. This is one that you kind of have to dump in. And I kind of have an idea about how much of that fragrance oil I want to use. And so I go ahead and add that to both of my melted candles. And I did do some microwaving today to melt candles. I think I like the stove method better. It can get a little messy, so you want to use like an old pot or something that you don't really care about. But I try not to get wax everywhere. So I think everything is ready to go and we can do this fall candle pour. So again, be careful. These are really hot. I'm going to go ahead and dump this right in. Now, I was able to find the orange jar like this and also the clear one. So you could do your own color of candle by coloring your candle or using one of the colored candles from Dollar Tree instead of the white ones. But since this is orange, the white I think is going to look really good in there. I did have to fish out like a candle wick part there. But most of the time, they just stayed in my original glass that I'm pouring out of. And I think that's going to be the perfect amount of candle wax to make this candle. And so I am done with this. We can go ahead and work a little bit on the pumpkin stem. So we have the lid. It's just a regular jar lid. We have the little wood stem. And then I also want to use some of that wired jute cord. So I'm just going to hot glue the stem right on there. And then I thought maybe one little tendril would be cute on here for a little pumpkin. I don't think that's really going to get in my way too much for being able to use the little screw lid. So I just go ahead and put it around, something like a pen shape to make a little curly tendril. One thing you really have to kind of avoid working with these too much because it does come off the wire. I'm going to use some hot glue to try to glue that in place. And then I can trim that down a little bit because I don't want you to be able to see like the wire in there. I also burned off a little of the fuzzies because it was a little messy. And then with the straight in here, I'm just going to wrap that around our pumpkin stem. Easy peasy. It'll be easy to remove if I don't end up not wanting it on there. So I let my candle sit. This one took a little bit longer because it's such a large candle, but it's set up really nicely. I did have to clean this up a little bit, pouring wax on the side and stuff like that. But once it's set up like this, it's really easy to clean it up with a paper towel. And I think this one turned out really nice. I really like the marshmallow fluff scent. But if I have like a pumpkin spice scent, I would really love that. So I trim the little wick and screw on the little lid. And we have another little pumpkin candle for fall. How perfect is this for fall? Isn't it so cute? Because it's decorative when you're not burning your fall candle. You can totally just use this as a fall decor. But then when you want a little fall ambience, you can light this right up. I kind of burn my candles like whenever I'm like in my house. I don't really care what time of day, but they are really special at night, especially if you have the lights down low. So let's light this one up and see how it looks all lit up. I think it's really pretty. I thought about doing more than one wick in there because it was such a big candle, but I think it's going to work with just one. Now the next one, I'm going to use another one of those long vases from the Dollar Tree and then one of their little clear glass candle holders. Now to decorate the large vase, I thought we could use one of these rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree that says Hello Autumn. I thought that'd be an easy way to decorate the glass, and I was really surprised by how easy this was to get on. So you just peel off the back, lay it on the glass, and then I used one of those little Cricut scrapers to scrape it on. And either of these things work wonderful or they really fight you, and this was one that worked absolutely wonderful. I love these things. So you gotta make sure that it's all down before you go too crazy pulling it off, because you can still scrape it on if you need to, but everything came right off and it looks really good. Now this is gonna be a fun idea. I'm gonna do the candle holder inside of the vase. That way we can fill the vase up with popcorn. So this is the candle holder we're gonna use. These come in several different sizes. We'll be using the other two sizes, I think, today. I think there might be 3 different sizes of those. And then we can pop a little tea candle right inside. So this is what I'm going to use for corn, just my popcorn that I had around my house. I think corn looks great for fall decor, and it was a little bit more challenging to get it in there because basically I want to fill up the whole vase with corn, but not the little candle holder at the top. So that's not the way it was going for me. So let's try that again. I was looking all over for a funnel. I know I have lots of craft funnels that I try to pick up at Dollar Tree, and I found one that was large enough for the little popcorn kernels to go through. You could always use dried beans. I think that would be really cute too. That way I can just pour that around the edges of my candle holder and get the corn to go exactly where I need it to go. And it's a pretty large vase, that vase from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to fill it all the way up. That way it's going to kind of weigh down the little candle holder inside. It's all going to be kind of hidden underneath the corn too. So that's really fun. And the funnel method was definitely the key here. Just kind of shake that in right where you need it. And try to get any out of the candle holder because they're not supposed to be in that section. Now, at first, I wanted to use one of the little apple cinnamon tea light candles. I thought that would be a nice fall scent. The only thing I didn't like about these, though, is I kind of expected these to be a little bit more red, but when I put them in there, they kind of looked hot pink. So even though I like the smell, I wasn't a big fan of the color. So I'm going to switch it up to one of the vanilla ones from Dollar Tree. And I think that's just going to look nicer in there. It might not smell as much like fall, but I think it's going to work. So here's our little candle nested in a jar of corn that says Hello Autumn. I'm glad I decided to add that decal to the outside because I think it added a little bit more decor that it needed on the outside of the jar. But otherwise, I think the corn for fall is so cute. So we're going to light this up. Try not to create any popcorn here. And I think that's really fun. What do you guys think about this DIY, the popcorn candle? I love it. Now check out these cute little candles I got at Dollar Tree. One is a fall leaf and one is an owl. So these two candle DIYs I'm going to do together. And I thought we can make like a little mini tiered tray out of the Dollar Tree wood slices. So I have one of the hanging signs that's kind of an oval shape, and then one of the 2-pack of the smaller slices that are more like a coaster. And I thought we could do a cute little tier tray that we could decorate with fall things using those little candles. They're so cute. So for the feet for our tier tray, I decided to use some of the wood stems. I think that's going to look really great for fall, and it's going to go well with our little wood slices. So I'm just going through, as you can see, they come in all different shapes and sizes. I'm just trying to find 4 that are the same height so that my tray will be level. since I'm going to have candles on there. And I don't really care. I like the variety, all different colors and stuff like that. I'm just going to attach those to the bottom of our little oval shaped sign. All I did to that was remove the hanger on that. And it makes a really cute little tray like that. Look how cute that is. Now for the smaller wood slice, the one that is the size of a coaster, I'm going to keep building on top of this tray by using some more wood stems. That way I can have like one candle on that layer of the candle stand and then like one on the lower. So I'm going to use wood stems again. It's going to kind of make it look like a tree. And I thought maybe we could do the owl like up in the taller part of the tree. That'd be really cute. I didn't think one was going to be super sturdy, so I decided to use two and kind of put one in front of the other. So you can't really see that there's two, but it's going to provide a little bit more stability so that I can actually burn the candle on there. So I'm just going to attach those with hot glue. These are about the same size. They're nice and level. And then some hot glue on the tops and just sit our other little wood slice there. And I think this is the perfect little candle holder for these two fall candles. I also have some acorns. I thought that'd be really fun to decorate. It's totally gonna go with like the fall forest vibe here. So here are the candles. They're really cute and they really do burn. I love these little decorative shaped candles. And look at the texture on the little fall leaf. It's so beautiful. I really like this color. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it ready to attach it to the base, like right down here. And then the owl is kind of like, I think they had different colors. This one's kind of a reddish color, kind of a maroon color. Look how cute he is. I love owls. And now my son is going to college and he's an owl. So it's going to make my owl obsession worse. I've been sending him owls. I sent him a plush owl. I sent him an owl for his desk. Really fun. And so then I thought maybe one of these little fall picks would have some cute decor items on it. And I think these little faux berries really kind of match the colors of the two candles. So I can kind of nest that between the two trays and kind of have it peek out. I think that would look really cute. There's also like some little branches on this one. So I'm going to kind of have those peek out the other side here. And then I thought we maybe could use like one of these little acorns as well. I don't think I have room for a lot, but maybe just like one right here in between the two tiers there of our little candle holder. And then I am just going to use a little hot glue just to tack the candles down. Just going to help them stay into place. As I burn them, I don't want them falling over or anything like that. And I put the leaf on the bottom, the owl on the top tier, and this was so much fun to make. What do you guys think about these two fall candles? Aren't they sweet? I think that base is just perfect. I think the owl is really sweet. And all of the like wood slices just give that fall forest vibe. Such an easy little candle holder, and hopefully I give you some fun crafting inspiration with this one. And they actually do burn, so let's go ahead and light these little fall candles. See how they look lit up? So fun, I love them. I was wondering what I was going to do with these. I knew I had to have them, but I think this is a great use. Okay, next DIY. I picked up one of the little clear jack-o'-lantern candle holders from Dollar Tree. Sometimes they have those in orange too, but the one I found was clear. And so I thought I would use some of these orange votives that I got at Dollar Tree. I honestly thought these were pumpkin scented, and they're totally not. They're like floral scented, but you know, we're going to make it work. I'm going to pop them in a glass vase that I have from the Dollar Tree, just so I have something to put in my boiling water to melt those, but you could always use the microwave to melt those too. And I'm just going to go ahead and put some double-sided tape in the bottom of our jack-o'-lantern and get this candle ready to pour. Now, I didn't want a lot of Halloween elements today. I wanted to do mainly fall, but I think this one's really cute because I think you could have this out fall or Halloween. Sometimes I take down my fall stuff to do Halloween and then put it back up for Thanksgiving. But I went ahead and melted all 3 of those little votive candles down, thinking that was going to be plenty enough wax. Now, when I poured it in there, I was surprised to learn that it really only filled the little jack-o'-lantern about halfway. I didn't think it was going to be enough, so I decided to try to add to it. I didn't have any more orange candles, but I had 3 of these vanilla scented, so I thought we could maybe mix the 2 scents together. I think they'll go together fine, because you can totally make your own custom scent since you're making your own candle. I'm just going to go ahead and pull the wicks out of those and pop those in the microwave to melt. That worked pretty well. I used a paper bowl, so I didn't really have to dirty anything with wax. And then I kept the orange wax in my little jack-o'-lantern warm by putting it in my hot water that I had, so it would not set up. And then while it's still liquid, I can go ahead and add the vanilla to it. And what I found happened, I knew it would lighten the orange color, but it did lighten it a lot, but I kind of like the color it ends up. So let's try to clean this up a little bit. It was really kind of hard to pour out of the paper bowl. I think I like the long cylinders better. I think that makes it easier to pour. But I think this is going to work. You can see what color that it dried. It's a really soft orange color, which I think goes great with my fall decor, and it's going to kind of make it match in better for fall. And I just trimmed my little wick down. It's got a little metal handle on there, and it's so cute. I've DIY'd these lots of different ways, but I think this is like one of my favorite little jack-o'-lantern DIYs by making my own little fall candle. And mixing the orange votives and the vanilla, like ivory ones together really gave me that nice soft color of orange. And he looks so happy for Halloween. So let's light this fall candle up. See if he can give us some cozy, spooky vibes. And he looks so cute. And these would look really cute sitting out on your porch for Halloween too. You could kind of line your path with them a little bit. I think that'd be really cute. Okay, for the next candle DIY, we're going to use one of these little round bowl dishes from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to do a really fun floating candle DIY. So they have these little floating candles at Dollar Tree in a little 2-pack. They are white, and I thought it would be really fun to do like a little fall DIY with these. So probably the most challenging part was just getting the sticker off the bottom. But what I want to fill this up with is with pine cones. These are just some pine cones that I got at Dollar General, and science tells me that when I get them wet, they're going to close up. So even though they're nice and big now, I'm probably going to have to add more later. So I have 4 to start with. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the pine cones down into the dish. And this couldn't be any easier. Now, one thing I did notice after a couple of days that I did have to kind of change the water in this. I don't know, maybe some kind of chemical or something that comes out of the pine cone, maybe some sap or something like that, but you might want to keep that in mind. So I went ahead and just filled it up with water, and then we can just float a little candle in there for a really fun fall candle. Just gonna pop one out. I love these. I've used these for a lot of DIYs, and my favorite thing to put them in is definitely this little round dish because it's just the right size. Now I'm gonna add a little bit more water because it wasn't sitting quite the way that I wanted it to. And then it kind of wants to go a little off center like that. So I went to my craft stash to see if I could find some more pine cones to add to this. And then I'm going to let it sit overnight and see if they all close up and see if I was right about that. So once I filled it up a little bit more, it sat much better, nice and full. Just like that. And then I'm going to let it sit all night to see if the pine cones close up. And you know what? They sure did. See how much smaller they are and how the dish is mostly empty now, even though it was full before. So gonna have to add some more pine cones to kind of get that full effect. And just put some of the pine cones down inside there. and replace the candle. And then let me show you what this looks like lit up for fall. Such a quick, easy little fall candle DIY. I have done like a similar candle DIY using seashells in the bottom for a coastal vibe, but this is a nice, fun fall touch. This could also be really good for winter. And fun fact, one of my viewers, Paula, just sent me a huge box of big pine cones. I can't wait to craft with them. So this is how it turned out. I think it is so easy and fun. So our little pine cone floating candle display. I think it's so cute, and we got a little science in there too, right? Okay, the next DIY, we're going to use some of these wood slices again. These are the little ones that are like the size of a coaster. And I'm going to show you how to DIY your own little candle holder out of those. So again, we're going to use some of the wood stems from the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to create some little feet. So I want like 3 of those that are about the same length. I think 3 legs is going to be enough to make a stable little candle holder. And then we're going to DIY our own little fall candle using one of those pillar candles from the Dollar Tree and a Dollar Tree fall leaf. This time we're going to use that bright red color out of that package from earlier. So it's kind of like a matching game, trying to find the ones that are going to work. And I think we have a winner. Super cute. I've made little candle holders like this using these supplies for tier trays before. I think they look so rustic and cute. And they're just so easy. You can just leave all the wood unfinished and then just attach the little feet with some hot glue, and you are ready to go with a cute little rustic candle holder. Now I'm going to do a technique on the candle itself that I haven't done in a long time, but it's always a fun little crafting technique. And a cute little hack. You may have done it in the past too. It might be a reminder that it's a really fun thing to do. We are just going to melt the little fall leaf into the side of the candle. Now I've done this before with photographs. Like I've printed out, I think on tissue paper, and made like little personalized candles for like grandparents and stuff like that. And they turned out so cute. So I kind of remember the technique, and I thought we could totally do that with a fall leaf. So just going to go ahead and get all the packaging off of this. This is like a vanilla scented candle from the Dollar Tree. I find these the most often. I like to pick these up because the nice neutral color, and it's going to smell great too. And the only thing you need for this is wax paper. I picked up this wax paper at the Dollar Tree. And you're going to use that wax on the wax paper to kind of melt on top of the leaf and then melt it into the side of the candle. So super fun. Just go ahead and put your leaf on there wherever you want it to be. Mine is a tiny bit too large, but I think we can make it work. I just want it to kind of wrap around the candle like that. So I put my wax paper over it with the wax side down, and then I just hold it tightly around the candle in place. And now for this, I'm going to use my heat gun, but if you don't have a heat gun, you could totally use a blow dryer. It works just as well for this. And you're going to want to work quickly. You want to melt that wax paper and that wax like right on top of the leaf, but you don't want to like destroy the shape of your candle or get any like bleeding or anything like that from the red leaf on there. So less is more when you're like applying heat to this. Just kind of do it until you think it is stuck, and then you can just go ahead and peel off your wax paper, and we have a leaf melted into the side of the candle. Such a fun way to make a fall candle. So a little bit of heat to melt the wax on there. Look how beautiful that turned out. It's really well attached. It looks like part of the candle, and then we can just use that little leaf candle and put it on our little candle holder that we just DIY'd. I think it's going to look so cute together, and it was so easy to make. And I thought a little of that berry garland would look really cute wrapped around that too, just for another little fall touch, just a little bit of it. It's the red and the orange one that we used before. I'm thinking maybe just wrap it around the candle holder, kind of like loosely, maybe 2 times would look really good. Just a nice little fall element that you can add. I love this berry garland from Dollar Tree. I think it's so pretty. So I'm just gonna like wrap it around like that. That way I can kind of wire it to itself there in the back, kind of having it like go down all the way on one side, maybe not so much on the other side. I don't want it to look too perfect. So there it is. We have our little fall leaf candle. Super fun to make that with some wax paper. You could put about anything on the side, but I think a fall leaf would be perfect for a fall candle. And this is how it turned out. Again, it's not a fall scent. If you could get a fall scented candle at Dollar Tree, that would be really cute too. I think this might look really good in a colored candle as well. And I love that little DIY candle holder. It's so cute. And so let's light this one up and see how it looks. I haven't done this technique in years since I lived in Florida, so I'm glad I remembered it because it was really fun to do. And it turned out great. Hey guys, I wanted to take a moment out of today's video and let you know about memberships. I've introduced memberships on my channel for $4.99 a month. You're going to get early ad-free access to my videos and a few other perks as well. And it's an easy way for you to support me here on YouTube, and I would really appreciate it if you hit that join button. Okay, back to the fall candles. These are the other two sizes of those little candle holders from the Dollar Tree. I love them. They're made out of glass. I think they're really pretty. So I chose two that were different heights, and we could do a set of 2 fall candles that I think would look really cute. You know, in a cabinet, on a counter, even like in a centerpiece, it would be really cute. And we're going to use some of the maple pumpkin garland from the Dollar Tree to decorate them. So I thought, you know, we can just use tea light candles in those because they're nice small candle holders. I think that's going to fit in there perfectly. But I thought that this garland would be really cute, and I ended up using 2 packages of this. I wasn't a big fan of the plastic the garland's on, and I find things like the gourd and stuff really want to fall off on it. So instead of attaching it like that, I'm going to go ahead and do my own thing just by using some jute cord from Dollar Tree to wrap around the base of the candle holder. And then we can kind of string all of the fall garland on it like that. I think it's going to look a lot nicer, and I can put the leaves exactly where I want them. So I just began by tying the jute cord around the base of the candlestick. And then we can just start wrapping it around. Some of the leaves are like 2 at a time, which I'm just going to go ahead and take advantage of that. I just string the twine through it to keep it attached, attach some berries, attach some more leaves, and I'm going to kind of work my way up. I don't need like the whole garland for this one, but the taller one needed more than one. So between the 2 fall candles, I ended up using 2 packages of the fall garland. Super fun, and it looks really cute with the jute on there. It adds another like little fun fall rustic touch. It looks better, I think, than the plastic cord that the garland was on. And I can have everything kind of be visible here in the front. I'm going to hot glue the little gourd from it right here on the base. And I think that looks so pretty and really easy to do. So here is the other package that I bought, and see how things just kind of already fall off of it. The leaves are really nice quality, and the gourd and stuff, it's just the construction of it is not the greatest. So for this one, I thought it would be easier just to go ahead and just start pulling all the different parts of the garland off. So it'll be ready to go, and we can go ahead and string those on with some of the jute cord just like we did before by tying it to the bottom and string it along. And these fall candles were so easy to put together, and I think they really scream fall. I love the fact that this garland has like the little fall colored berries on there and the little gourds. Just another money saving, time saving hack there. And I'm just going to string them all the way up till like they kind of go up like underneath the candle holder. I don't want like the candle to be able to catch the leaves on fire or anything like that, but I want it to look nice and full. I think I used all but one, but I can go ahead and fill in like maybe any of the areas that don't have anything with that extra leaf. Just attach it with some hot glue. And I'm just kind of straighten that out, make sure you can kind of see everything, and we'll attach a little gourd on this one as well. And I just attached that with hot glue. And this is how the pair of the two fall candles look together. I love that they are varying heights. How cute are these? And then for the votives, I thought we would just use the vanilla scented ones. I think that the ivory color is going to look nice right in top. And no, they're not votives, they're tea light size. I think the votives would be a little too large. They would stand out at the top of that candle holder. So I think you want to go with the tea light size to decorate these. But here they are, our little set of 2 fall leaf candles. Look how beautiful the leaves are. Aren't they really nice? So I was saying the leaves are great quality. It was just the construction of the garland was not great. But I think they look great wrapped around these candlesticks and totally ready for fall. So let's light these up and see how they look. I wanted to light each one of these fall candles for you today to give you the full cozy fall experience and show you how they look with a little less lighting. I think they're really pretty. Wouldn't these be great on a table? Okay, the next DIY, we're going to do 3 fall candles on this one. And we're going to use one of these Dollar Tree shelves to kind of make a candle tray. Now, I'm going to make mine for a cabinet, but this would be great for a centerpiece in your table as well. Because it's long and skinny, it's not going to get in the way. It's not going to be super tall, but it's going to look really fun and pretty for fall. So I don't need any of the hangers, and I don't really need to worry about the holes or anything like that. That's just going to be the base. Nice, skinny, thick base that I can attach my candle holders to. So I'm going to use my cutting mat, just kind of a ruler, so I can kind of space out my candle holders. And I use these these are kind of like a hurricane shape, but these are like the smaller or medium-sized ones from the Dollar Tree. I picked up 3 the same, and I thought we could do 3 fall candles all together on this to make a nice, large fall candle display. So I think that looks pretty good. I am just going to simply tack them down with a little hot glue just so they kind of stay in place. I didn't bother trying to take the stickers off the bottom on these because I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I think that they're going to stay put. So I'm going to put the right one over on this side, a little bit of space on the outside edge, and then kind of center the third one on here as well. And if you had a longer piece of wood, you can make a longer one of these for your table too. It'd look great for Thanksgiving. Now for candles, I thought it would look great to use a little glass candle in there. So we're going to again use these little glass votive candles from the Dollar Tree that I love and do 1 in each one. It's going to give that little candle within a candle holder look there. And I really think that looks great with the hurricane shape. And again, I'm just going to tack them down a little bit with a little hot glue around the edges, just to kind of make sure they stay put so that I can safely light these candles. But the hot glue is not going to be super permanent, so if I need to switch the candles out, I should be able to do that too. I just wanted to tack them down a little bit so they didn't go tip over or anything like that. Now to fill around the outside, again, I'm going to use popcorn. So I'm using my funnel technique that I used before. This time I'm not filling it all the way up. I just want a little filler for around the candle holder. And I did pretty good until the last one, getting popcorn all over the place. But I'm going to use a fall leaf garland to decorate this. And I think the color of the popcorn is going to look really good with it. So I think that's enough popcorn, and I think that's a nice height. So I'm going to use the other kind of fall garland that I found at Dollar Tree this year. This one doesn't have the little berries or the gourds on it, but I think it's a beautiful color, yellowish orange color. And I'm just going to leave it all together as a garland, and we're just going to wrap this candle holder with it. I just kind of find the middle of my garland and wrap that around our center candle like this. And then we can wrap it around like that and then go around some of the outside candles too. This had plenty of fall leaves on it. And then I kind of want to use all of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it around the outside candle again. I think that looks pretty good. I just need a way to kind of make sure that stays in place. So I kind of string it through itself and then use a little dot of hot glue there to kind of keep it in place. And I'm going to do the same thing over here on the left side of our candle holder as well. And the popcorn color and those leaves, don't they look really nice together? Perfect. Sometimes the little leaves fall off and you can just pop them back on. And then I'm just going to kind of arrange them all to make sure they look nice. They're not all exactly where I'd want them to be, but if I find that I want one like here, I can just pull one off and attach it with hot glue as needed to kind of fill in any of the holes, because sometimes there was a lot of leaves, sometimes there wasn't very many. And I just kind of go all the way around, and I want mine to be fuller on the front because I'm going to put mine on the cabinet. But if you were going to make yours a centerpiece, you're going to want to make sure yours is nice and full all the way around. This side's going to be kind of my back side. I think that looks pretty good. And sometimes those leaves have a little bit of plastic that didn't cut well on the stems inside. But if you just kind of clean it out in there, you can pull off the excess plastic. I've noticed that more this year from Dollar Tree than I've ever noticed it before in the past. Then I thought some of the acorns from the Dollar Tree would be really cute. I think these are the larger ones. These are a lot bigger than the ones that we used before to fill up our little candle holder. And I'm just going to use hot glue to attach the acorns to the leaves. And I'm just going to scatter them out. Not too much. Just kind of in between the two sections. Kind of alternate where they'd be found and kind of what direction they're going. Just to kind of fill it out a little bit more. And I think that's another fall touch. I really like the leaf, the acorn, the dried corn. I think that looks great together. The corn reminds me, growing up in Missouri, my son would always like to go to the pumpkin patch and stuff like that. He always liked the ones with like the big, like sandboxes full of corn to play with. He always thought that was so much fun. And this is how it turned out. Our 3 fall candles all displayed together on a tray. I think they look so festive for fall. And they really don't look like they were made with all items from the Dollar Tree. And I think the shelf works great because it doesn't really interfere with the structure at all. It just provides a nice base. So let's go ahead and light all 3 of these fall candles and see how it looks. Beautiful. I love this so much I might move it to my table. It's really pretty. Okay, the next DIY, I picked up one of these little gather like fall baking dishes from the Dollar Tree, and I thought it would be fun to try to do a candle inside there. So I need my wax, and I'm kind of out of the long glass candles at this point. So I have more of these pillars, so I decided to melt them down. Now, I thought I would use 2 of these. I think that's going to be plenty of wax. I'm just going to go ahead and pull out the wick now. It's going to make it a little bit easier, and then I'm going to melt these in the microwave. Now, I wouldn't recommend it unless you can cut this wax up a little bit because it took forever. I put them in separate bowls because I thought they would melt faster, and I still think they took at least 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes, maybe more. I kind of, every 3 minutes, I would kind of go check on them and stir them, but I think it was a lot easier to melt these in the boiling water in the pot on the oven. Now, I wanted to color my candle. Since it was kind of a blue theme on there, I thought we could do a blue candle. And so I know that you can color candles with crayons. So I didn't have any regular crayons, but my son had left a few blue candles here at home that are these like little twistable candles, kind of fancy crayons, right? And so I'm just using a sharp knife and just kind of cutting that down. And then that wax will actually color our wax in our candle, and that's how you can color your candles. You can also use food coloring, but you have to make sure that you use like the gel or the powdered food coloring. Otherwise, the liquid will just sink to the bottom and it won't work if you want to color your own candle. So I have found 2 blue crayons. I probably would have been okay with just 1 because it doesn't look like you get very much out of this, but it actually worked really well to color that vanilla scented candle, that ivory color. So I kind of got them crushed down into as little pieces as I could find. And then I thought maybe a 2-wick candle. This would be a really cute little candle for fall for my kitchen instead of a little loaf of bread in there or cake, we can have a little loaf of a candle. So I went ahead and did 2 wicks. I'm going to go ahead and set those up with the little popsicle sticks. And I waited forever for that wax to melt. I kind of like the jar candle method the best. Super easy to melt, super easy to pour. This, I was a little worried about. But I finally got them to melt, thank goodness. And so I'm just going to kind of put some of the blue crayon in each one. And it's not quite hot enough to go ahead and melt the crayons. So I'm going to go ahead and pop them back in the microwave for another couple minutes. So the microwave is definitely a technique you can use. But honestly, it wasn't as easy, and it was kind of hard not to spill the wax. Like my microwave's up high. I spilled some on my stove and I had to clean it up. But look how pretty the blue color turned out. Not all of my candle wax dissolved. I probably didn't grate it down quite small enough of a powder, but I think it's going to be okay. So here's our little loaf pan, and I'm going to try my best to pour the wax in there. But again, pouring it from the bowl is not super easy. And see, I still have some crayon down there, so I think 1 crayon would have probably been enough, but I did get a nice blue color out of these. So I'm going to go ahead and add my second bowl of wax. So I used 2 pillar candles to fill it all the way up. Now I'm just going to set this aside until it sets up. One thing I've noticed is when you pour a large candle like this, you kind of get like a little well in the middle. So I wondered if I could fix it by just using my heat gun to kind of melt some of the wax and kind of send it to the middle to fill up the well, and then let it set up again, which is what I tried. I still kind of got a little well in there, but that's okay because I'll get that anyway when I start burning this in my kitchen. So I'm going to go ahead and trim my wicks down and remove my popsicle sticks. And I think this is a really fun idea for a fall kitchen candle, using one of these loaf pans, and they have so many great designs. Here is our little gather fall candle in a nice light blue color. And it's got like little wheelbarrows with pumpkins and flowers, all different kinds of fall things on there. I always love these, and I'm always looking for different ways to decorate them. This is definitely my first candle in one though. Definitely a large candle though, so I think the 2 wicks is necessary. And let's go ahead and light this candle and see how it looks. Really pretty, and it is vanilla scented too, using those vanilla pillar candles. Okay, next DIY, I'm going to use a Dollar Tree white candlestick and a Dollar Tree candy corn candle. I thought it was so cute. Now, my first attempt, I thought, oh, I'll just decorate like the white candle holder with some of this really cute like orange like jack-o'-lantern ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And I got it on here. I went ahead and did it right here at the top. Like there's like a little seam here. And then I went ahead and did another row of it on the bottom. And spoiler, I ended up not liking it. But I thought of something even more festive to do, and it's going to be great for fall or Halloween. I think candy corn can kind of go with both. So look at this candle from the Dollar Tree. It's so cute. And it saves you the trouble of trying to make a candy corn candle with all the 3 different colors layered and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and remove it from the package. And I love these little ceramic candlesticks from Dollar Tree. I think they are so pretty. And just pop my candle on top. So that's how that looked. And then I was like, you know, I think Crafty Beach, we can do better, right? So I'm going to go ahead and remove my little jack-o'-lantern ribbon. And I looked at the candle and I said, well, you know, there's like 3 sections on the candle holder. So why don't I just paint the candle holder to look like candy corn as well? So I'm going to mix some orange and red together until I can get that color for the middle part of the candy corn. So I'm going to leave the top part of the candle holder white, like the top of the candy corn candle. And then we're just going to paint this middle section here, that orange-red color. It's almost more red. But I kind of mixed it until I got a color that was really close to the candle. And I'm just going to use a small brush. You could tape it off. I'm going to go back and use a tinier brush in the end to kind of straighten up any lines. because I don't really want to add any ribbon or anything to it. I want it to be a straight transition just like the candle. And I'm so glad I changed my mind on the candlestick because this turned out so cute. So I had let that dry and I did a second coat because, you know, red, it's kind of hard to get good coverage on that. And I don't want any of the white showing through. And then I switched to yellow for the bottom part of our candy corn candle holder. So you could kind of do this with any color. It's easier on the white one because it's going to be easier to paint the different colors. And then the white part, you can just leave white. I thought about painting it white, so it kind of have the same brush strokes, but I thought it turned out okay. So I went ahead and touched up the bottom with a little bit more yellow. And then I'm going to kind of touch up the lines on the top and the bottom of the orange-red color. Again, using a tiny brush to kind of make that look a little cleaner because I didn't use any tape or anything to transition between the colors. And it turned out adorable, didn't it? So I'm going to go ahead and just use some more hot glue to try to tack down the little candy corn candle right on top. And look how cute that is. I think it's perfect for fall or Halloween. And this is great if you don't want to do like any of the spooky decor for Halloween, which I actually like to do. If you want just kind of more of a fall candy vibe, how cute is that? I think it turned out really fun. I'm so glad I decided to switch up the candlestick. And let's find out how this little candy corn candle looks all lit up. I was crafting all 20 of these candle DIYs last night during the hurricane. And we were really lucky to avoid most of the bad weather. Only one screen out, so we got really lucky on this side of Florida. But my prayers are for anyone that was affected by that storm. It looked really bad. Okay, the next DIY, I found this at Dollar Tree too. This is a candle making kit. So I was kind of confused, had some false scents in there, but look, it's a little empty candle holder. It's already got the wick in there. And then it comes with these little wax granules. It had like apple, cinnamon, apricot, citrus, magnolia. And the directions says just to kind of like pour the little granules in there and like you can do like a stripe pattern, if you will. They're all different scents. I kind of wish that they would give you all one scent, but we're just going to kind of dump these in here and see. And then it just says to light it. It doesn't say to like melt the wax, which I thought was a little strange. I'm actually burning it right now and it does melt as you go. So I guess it's right, but it kind of looks weird doing it this way, but I'm doing it this way because that's what the instructions said to do. So I did mine in layers, and I didn't really like the striped look. So I decided to mix all the different scents together, and we'll see what we get, right? And so I'm mixing the red, orange, and white all together, just with the end of a popsicle stick, just because, the stripes really weren't my thing. And then it's a very small candle holder, but I thought we could still decorate it with a little fall flower. So I picked up one of these little red flowers. And I thought we could just add that to the front. It's going to match the red in the candle. And it's just going to give us a little fun detail right here in front. I thought it would also be cute to add a little rustic touch to like take some jute twine to wrap around the candle holder too. And then we can attach the little fall flower to that. So I just tie that on there, kind of wrap that around until I'm happy with it, using a little bit of hot glue to make sure it kind of stays in place. I don't want anything that's going to be too flammable or catch on fire. I think that looks pretty good. Let's clean up some of the fuzzies on there and then we can attach that little fall flower right there to the front. I really hope you are enjoying all of these fall candle DIYs today. I really had a great time making them. If you have any other suggestions like this that you'd like to see on my channel, just let me know in the comments below. I always love hearing all of your guys' ideas. And these are really fun. My house is ready for fall candle for every single room, I think. Maybe, actually, my house is not that big. Maybe 2 candles for every room because we did 20 candle DIYs. So this is this one with the little granules inside. I guess you could melt that in the microwave if you wanted a solid candle. I don't know. If you've done that, let me know below. And I think it looks really cute with that little red flower right on front. So definitely easy. They had these in all different kinds of scents at my Dollar Tree, but I picked up one with the apple cinnamon in it because I thought that kind of reminded me a little bit of fall. So we're just going to go ahead and light the wick right into the granules, just like the directions said. And it worked perfectly. I wouldn't say that it lasts a long time though. I hope you enjoyed those fall candle DIYs. For the next set of fall Dollar Tree DIYs, we're going to switch it up and do some neutral fall decor. I know that is a really popular trend a lot of you guys have been asking me for, so let's get started. I'm going to use this little oval wood plaque that I got at Dollar Tree. And I also have another little Dollar Tree sign there that I'm actually going to use just to make a base for this because I wanted to make it a standing sign. And I didn't really have a little block of wood, like just the right size. So I just took that to my saw and just cut it down so we would have a base for this DIY. Now I want to transform this little wood sign into an acorn. So for the nut part of the acorn, I wanted to make this look burlap. I thought that'd be really cool. And then I have a really fun idea for the acorn cap. So you could always use burlap from the Dollar Tree. I just happen to have a burlap roll sitting here from Walmart. This is like the 6-inch roll, so I'm just gonna use it. And I start by gluing it to the bottom. It's about the perfect size I need it to be. And then I want to wrap it around. I want to cover the back too, just because I'm going to have a standing sign. So I want the back to look a little bit finished. So I'm just using hot glue to try to pull it tight around that oval shape. And that's going to be the bottom part of the acorn. So I just trim off any excess burlap back there and glue that side tight. On this one, I'm going to kind of like overlap, you know, to kind of cover up the back of it because pretty much the acorn's going to be all finished. So I'm just going to hot glue that to itself there in the back and then just trim off the excess burlap. Now, I wanted to do an acorn cap on this, and I wanted it to kind of stick out from the acorn like an actual acorn would be. So what I was going to use to put on there, I don't really have anything to glue it to, and I really need some more depth to this. So to start with, I'm going to use some Dollar Tree rope, and we are going to wrap that around the acorn cap. And it kind of looks cool like that, but we're actually going to add more to it. So this is just going to bump it out a little bit and make it look like the acorn cap and give me something to glue the acorn cap to. So I just started in the back and we're just hot gluing this around. I'm not sure which one. I think this is the smaller diameter Dollar Tree rope. I've been finding that a lot more in my stores. It's kind of hit or miss with the Dollar Tree rope. They either have a ton of one kind or another. So I'm just hot gluing it. I do hot glue it tight to the front and the back, and I'm just wrapping it all the way around. That way all the sides are finished, including the sides. Now you could probably do this with the oval wood sign at Dollar Tree that's completely flat, but you're going to get a lot more dimension if you do it with one of their little thicker plaques like this. So once I get to the top part, I'm just going to go smaller and smaller until I fill in the remaining part of the acorn cap. And my plan to do that is to use pine cones. So I wanted to use the little scales from the pine cone to make a really cool acorn cap. Now, I've never taken apart a pine cone before, so it seemed difficult. So I tried a knife, but you know, that really didn't do anything. You really have to just pull all the pieces out. I'm using a couple of pine cones that I just got at Dollar Tree. I don't know, maybe it's easier if you find them outside. But it was a little challenging, so I just pulled out as many of the pieces as I could get, trying to pull out the little scales and get them in one piece. And it's going to take more than you think, always with this, but I thought like the first row here of the little acorn cap, we could use the little pine cone scales kind of like this to kind of give us that scalloped border. And then for the rest of the acorn cap, I'm going to turn the little pine cone scales around to kind of show all the cool colors and design on the other side. So you can do about half of it at a time with your hot glue pretty much still staying wet. And I'm just going to hot glue those on that last rope, overlapping the burlap slightly. This DIY turned out so cool. At first I was like, oh man, this sounds like a lot of work, but I'm so glad that I did it because it is absolutely beautiful. So definitely gonna need tons more of the pine cone scales. So I started pulling apart a second one. And I was able to do the whole thing with two, and these pine cones aren't very big. Now, speaking of Dollar Tree pine cones, though, I got a really big one there the other day. That's like maybe like 6 inches or something like that. And I'm definitely going to save that maybe for Christmas. I think it would be a really fun like Christmas tree DIY because it kind of shaped like a Christmas tree. I thought about using that one, but I wanted to save it. So I pulled out as many as I can easily get to here. And this is what I mean by having the other ones go the opposite direction like this. See how they're kind of like really dark and they have that really cool pattern on it? So I want that to be visible. I think that's going to make it look kind of like an acorn cap. And so I am just going to start hot gluing those on, slightly overlapping the row below it. You can kind of nest them in between the individual ones, but since all of mine were kind of different sizes, I kind of did that if I could, but otherwise I didn't. It doesn't really matter. And I want to cover up basically all of the brown rope until we get the entire thing covered with the little pine cone scales. So that's what it looks like so far. See how different they are when you flip them over? I like all the different colors and brown on these. I'm going this direction. And I think normally when you pull the pine cone scales out, they kind of have a spike on them. But mine kind of broke off is how I could get them out. So mine didn't really have that problem. And I'm in Florida, so I kind of have to go somewhere if I'm going to find a pine cone. I mean, I guess I could find somewhere in town, but not in my yard or anything like that. So I usually buy them. And I'm going to need a stick here in a minute too. And I have no sticks in my yard because I only have palm trees. And so I'll show you what I end up doing for that part. So I just keep going one row at a time, hot gluing those in place. And as you can see, I am slightly wrapping that around both sides so that it looks really good and finished. If it was going to be in a place where you could really see all the sides, you might want to wrap it all the way around. Now, this is a nice small DIY too. I think this would be a really good DIY for like a tier tray for fall. I haven't decided where I'm going to put mine yet, but I really love how it turned out. Now, I got that far and I was like, I think I need more pine cone scales. So I was able to get a few more off those two. And they're a little bit smaller, but that's okay because I'm just filling up this top part. And I just continue with the rows until it is completely finished. Now, I told you I needed a stick for this. And the reason why is I need like a little stick coming out the top of the acorn. And again, I didn't really have anything, but I did have some fall greenery that had these little plastic stick pieces on it. So you know what? We're going to make do with that. So basically, I just want a little tiny stick like an acorn would have, just coming right out the top. Not too big though. And I'm just going to attach that with hot glue. Now I want to display this wonderful acorn on a base. So that's why I cut down that other sign before. It's just a matter of attaching it. Now I was thinking hot glue might not be strong enough all by itself. So I thought maybe if I took a nail, I could go through the bottom and give me a little bit more to anchor with. So I'm going to use some Dollar Tree nails here. And I'm going to put some wood down because I want to protect my silicone mat here. And I'm just going to hammer this nail right in the bottom. I am going to off-center it a little bit though, because the acorn, I kind of want to sit it at an angle. So that would make more sense. So I am just going to hammer that in the bottom. and it's going to be sticking up, and hopefully, you know, the wood would be soft enough just to kind of lay that on there. And it actually worked out better than I could imagine. So that looks good. I have to decide exactly how I want this. I wanted mine tilted slightly to the left. So I just kind of pushed it on there, and the wood was soft enough it accepted the nail really well. Then I can hot glue under it as well. So the hot glue and the nail in combination. And then I wasn't so sure it was going to be strong, so I did add some more hot glue here a couple times to make sure that this is going to be nice and strong. It's not super heavy, so I'm not real worried about it falling over or anything like that. But I think the nail was definitely the trick if you're going to have yours be standing like this. Just giving it a quick trim here to clean up the back and maybe a little bit more hot glue. And this DIY is complete. I think it turned out so cool. Look at all those fun pine cone scales on the top of that acorn. I think this is my favorite acorn DIY that I've ever done. The colors are all super neutral, and I think this would look great with any fall decor. So this is how it turned out. The scales of that pine cone are beautiful, aren't they? Who knew? It's my first time ever taking one of those apart. I don't think I've ever taken a pine cone apart before. But I think it turned out really cool. What do you guys think? Okay, the next DIY is going to be a lot easier, I promise. I am going to use one of these little gather signs from the Dollar Tree. You know, I love the fact that they're giving you the word like on the plain sign like this. But again, it does make it a little trickier to try to paint it. Now, I love the ivory sign on the back, so I think that's fine because we're going neutral. So I thought we would just stain the raw wood gather with some antique wax by Waverly, and I'm just doing that with a makeup sponge, trying to not get like a significant amount of that on the sign underneath, but it's kind of inevitable that you're going to get some on there. But that's okay because I wanted to distress the ivory sign anyway. Goes with my coastal farmhouse vibe in my house. And so to do that, I just use a baby wipe, and I just basically wiped all the antique wax that I accidentally got on the sign on it, and just kind of evenly kind of blended that, dispersed it all over, made it look a little bit more rustic. And it is cool though for $1.25 that you can get that sign and it's already got the word gather on it. I guess that's like half the price than if you were going to put, you know, both the pieces together. So for the frame, I thought we could frame it out with some of the Dollar Tree burlap ribbon. I really love this zigzag pattern. I think it's really cool. And I think that's going to go great for the neutral color scheme for these DIYs. And it's going to add a lot of texture with a little bit of burlap. I love burlap. We're going to use that a lot today. And this is just one application of it. So I just hot glued one end to the other, trimming off. And then I'll just fill in the open space here on the side of my frame with some more of the burlap ribbon. And I do want this to be a hanging sign like it was before. And I am kind of covering up the holes with this, but I'll show you how I go about fixing it. I'm going to take some Dollar Tree twine to make the hanger. And I like to go in and knot it in the front anyway. I find the Dollar Tree signs lay better against your wall when you do it that way. So I knew I needed to go through the tiny hole in the sign and the frame and the burlap ribbon that we added to it. So I'm actually going to use a needle. I picked up these large upholstery needles actually at Dollar Tree in the Crafter Square. And then I just thread it through from the back, tying it into the front, and problem solved. I'm going to make it about the same length as it was before on the hanger. And basically that's all we're going to do with this sign. I love the neutral colors. I think it's really pretty. You could use this, you know, for fall. It's going to last you through Thanksgiving too. And it's going to go great if you have like a neutral color scheme for fall. So you can see the distressing on the back is kind of imperfect, but I kind of like that. It definitely makes it look kind of old. And so that is our second neutral fall DIY. Let's get on to a third. Now, I have a foam pumpkin from the Dollar Tree, and I thought it would be really fun to do a raffia pumpkin. I don't think I've ever done a raffia pumpkin. So to do that, I'm going to use a Dollar Tree grass skirt. So I just took 4 of the pieces that were knotted on the twine on the top of the skirt and pulled those off, and we're going to do 4 at a time. So I just pull off the stem on the foam pumpkin. If you can find the white foam pumpkin at the Dollar Tree, it's going to make your life easier. Otherwise, you might need to paint it because you might be able to see it through a little bit when you're done wrapping it with raffia. But I just tucked my knotted ends inside, pulled it around, cut it down a little bit just because it was a little long. I didn't want to fill up the entire inside of the pumpkin with extra, and tucked that in. And I am just going to repeat that process till we cover the entire pumpkin. So I did 4 again. I just popped the knots inside the pumpkin hole there, wrapping it around, trying to keep it as tight up against the pumpkin as I can, trimming off, about 6 inches or so, and tucking that down inside. So you can kind of see how much coverage. I think that maybe we could get away with like 6 or 8 more rounds of that. So I just keep repeating the same process. I pull off 4. That's about as much as I can really work with at a time. And stuff it inside, wrap it around, and trim it before I put the end in. Now, I think this is probably the easiest foam pumpkin that I've ever DIY'd from Dollar Tree. It was way simpler than I thought it would be, and probably the trick of using the grass skirt kind of helps with that. Now, check your Dollar Tree if you don't have any grass skirts at home or raffia, because they might still have some of these. Some of my Dollar Trees move the summer stuff to a back end stand or the party section. I usually can find these year-round down here. And so I just keep wrapping. I'm not really paying attention to a pattern at this point. I just want to cover it until I don't see any more of the white foam through it. And it was starting to get a little full inside there too. I could still see a tiny bit of foam, so I'm going to do another round here, shoving that inside, and then we will replace the pumpkin stem with something else. I thought one of these little wood slices from the Dollar Tree, these are the ones that kind of look like stems, would be perfect. And so it's really easy. All you got to do is push it in the hole that you created, that you put all the raffia in, until you have a little pumpkin stem. Now, I think it's really cute. I love the neutral color, but I thought maybe we should dress it up a little bit, but nothing too crazy. I wanted to do a pumpkin leaf. So this is a little green leaf from the package of multicolored leaves at the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to use that nice and neutral with some Spanish moss from Dollar Tree. And I just take some of that and kind of tie it around. I'm not going to really hot glue that on. I kind of want that to look imperfect, kind of like a vine, if you will. And I'm not going to do any tendrils or anything like that. I'm going to kind of get that look from this. And I think this really added a nice natural element to it to combine with the raffia. But I don't want it to be too crazy, so I do trim it up a little bit, arranging it, and then to finish off this DIY, we're going to add just a little green leaf here, trying to find the perfect spot for it, and just hot gluing that on. And we have a neutral raffia pumpkin, perfect for fall decor. And one thing I love about fall decor, I decorate for fall now, I'm decorated now for fall, but I have to take a lot of it down to make room for all of my Halloween decor. But then I put my fall back up for Thanksgiving because I don't like to skip Thanksgiving. So this is how it turned out. I think this is really pretty. The foam pumpkins from the Dollar Tree are not too large, so this would pretty much fit anywhere. And it would also be good for a tier tray as well, I think, for fall. But it was so easy to make. So that is another little neutral fall DIY for you. Okay, next DIY, I picked up one of these little tinsel acorns at Dollar Tree. You guys know I love to remake the tinsel projects from Dollar Tree and make them look really nice. So that's what we're going to do with this one. First step is just to trim off all the tinsel. I like to just cut mine off right up the center, and then it all easily comes off. You don't have to worry about anything else. Now this top piece was kind of sideways. It kind of threw me for a loop there, but same thing. Just trimming that all off. And when you are removing the tinsel from one of these projects, it is going to make a mess. As you can see, all the little tinsel stuff left behind. Going to go ahead and cut off the hanger. Definitely don't want the yellow ribbon on there. And my trick to cleaning this up is just a Dollar Tree lint roller. Picks up that stuff perfectly. Now to cover this, I kind of wanted a seagrass look. So I'm going to use these little spring bags from the Dollar Tree. My Dollar Tree still have these. I like to pick them up. I craft with these all the time. I think they look great for coastal decor, but they also look great for neutral decor like this. The only thing is they have a little flower on them. You could also do this DIY with the Dollar Tree sun hat, but I'll show you why I chose the bag on this one. I just cut off the part with the flower, and I'm not really going to need most of the back on this one, and I'm definitely not going to need the bottom because I want it to kind of fit around the acorn just like this. And look how it's the perfect size to go with the creases on the side of the bag and everything. The only thing is it doesn't cover the entire acorn. I'm going to do something different for the acorn cap, but that's why I ended up having to use 2 bags because it wasn't quite big enough. I am going to trim off the excess fabric on the back. I just need enough that I can wrap it around the cage of it. And I'm leaving the little tabs on the sides because they're not really going to interfere. So to start with, I just kind of hot glue it to the cage up here at the top so it'll stay in place. Wrapping it around those little tabs on the side. And then I am just going to hot glue that seagrass material onto the cage. It does kind of like to fall apart between the seams a little bit, but I thought it would be easier to work with it a whole piece at a time like this than to taking it apart and winding it. And so that looks pretty good. I am going to secure it here at the bottom. Now, when you start your next bag, you're not going to want to overlap too much, otherwise you're going to get a ridge. I was hoping I could use the back, but it was not quite wide enough, so that's okay. We will just use another one of these little Dollar Tree bags for this. And I'm just going to cut off the flower part this time because I don't really need that part. And then I'm just going to cut out a strip that's going to be big enough to go on the bottom of the acorn. I hope I get my acorns and pine cones right in this video because I called pine cones acorns in a video over and over when I was doing a voiceover this late at night, and I got called out for it a million times. I went in and tried to change it, and there's no changing it once it's up, but I did change the subtitles. So that's a fun fact. Now, I just glued that on, overlapping it. Again, you don't want to overlap it too thick. You just want to make sure that you can't see between the different layers. And then it's a little trickier to glue this part. You just want to glue it tight against the cage as you can get, and then you can always trim off the excess material. And the cage is kind of like a yellowish greenish color, but it's not visible or anything like that. I think it's a light enough color that you don't have to really worry about that because you can of course see through this material. And then I'm just going to do the same thing here on the other side. Hot gluing that down and trimming off the excess. Now that part of the acorn is complete, and I think it turned out really well. Now I want to stick with neutral colors and something fun for the acorn cap. Maybe not quite as detailed as the pine cone scales, but I thought Dollar Tree rope would work. So that's what we're going to use. I thought maybe the little tabs on the side of the pumpkin stem might get in the way, so I did trim those off. And I did end up kind of trimming the top ones. You'll see here in a minute. I kind of thought maybe you could see them. So again, I'm using the thinner Dollar Tree rope on this one. And I am just going to cut off one piece for each part of the acorn cap. It's actually kind of big, and it kind of goes up and curves over. So it was a little tricky doing this part, but I'll show you how I did it. So I just cut one of the ropes down to size. That's going to kind of overlap the sides of the acorn because of course I want that to stick out a little bit. And with the second row, I can do the same thing about the same size. But as you can see, once I get past there, I'm not going to be able to do them that wide. Otherwise, it's not going to fit in that part of the acorn cap. So I'm just going to have to make it shorter by making it shorter on both sides. So I just start where I think I need to and then glue that, cut this side shorter as well. So it'll kind of nest and fit in there. I'm going to repeat that here with this one, and I'm actually going to have room for like a third row before we finish this section of the acorn cap. And I'm going to leave that last section, the middle section between the two parts, for the end. That part right there. So I just start here on the back, and I just started gluing it to the tabs to try to cover those up. And again, I'm just going to go side to side. We'll also be covering the little hanger there so that we can make this little acorn a hanging sign too. And then I'm just going to keep gluing rope till we get to that center part. Now my camera does die here in a second, which means I've been crafting this project for 30 minutes. My camera dies at 30 minutes. And so that's kind of a time estimate of how long I spent on this. Now I got that all filled in, and then I went over that middle section with a piece of rope that stuck out a little bit more because it's kind of arched there at the top, and it's going to cover up all the plastic cage. And again, on this part, I didn't really have enough room, so I did have to start shortening them the higher that I went on here. But you could do the rope all the way around, but I think this way was actually easier. So that's where my camera died. You can see that I finished it up and I did the additional piece of rope on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and take some twine to make a new hanger while I can still get to that little hole in the acorn stem. And then we're just going to wrap that with rope too, just to stay consistent with texture and color on this. And I just do that by hot gluing that, and we're just going to wrap this. With the complicated shape of the acorn cap, I really think that you have to cut all the individual pieces down like I did, because I don't think wrapping it would really work. So I just wrap that all the way around and hot gluing that to itself. Now, I thought this looked really cool and very neutral, but I thought it also looked a little bit plain. So I'll show you how I fix that in here just a second. First thing, whenever I do a rope project, I love to burn the fuzzies off just to clean it up, get rid of any of the crazy strings that are like all around. Now, I thought you might be able to see the top of these little plastic pins that are sticking out, so I did trim mine off. I did try to cover that just to avoid having to do this, but I could still kind of get to them. So I'm just going to give them a quick trim just to make sure that you can't see anything hanging out at the top. So that's what it looks like plain. I love the colors. I love the different textures. But again, I thought it was a little plain. I thought it needed a word. So these are the little leather fall words from the Dollar Tree. This one says blessed. And so I'm just going to hot glue that right to the front. And the colors work well together. It was really easy to attach to that. And I think that was the perfect final step for this little acorn DIY. And definitely a very neutral color scheme, and I think it turned out really beautiful. This is how it turned out. I am glad that I decided to use the rope for the acorn cap. I think that worked well, and I really love the little purse from the Dollar Tree for the texture there on the acorn. So definitely another fun take on an acorn, and hopefully I gave you some crafting inspiration with that one. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment out of today's video and let you know about my Facebook group. I always have it posted in the description below. You can find out when I post new content here on YouTube. And I also have, you'll also be able to see what everybody else is making, and they're so creative. I also have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest, and my handle is Crafty Beach on YouTube. Okay, more DIYs. I'm going to use this little wood leaf sign that I got at Dollar Tree and try to remake it. It does have a monogram on them, which is totally not my monogram, so we're going to DIY this. Make it into a neutral fall decor. Now, I thought that that wallpaper of the fall leaves on it was kind of busy and that you might be able to see it even through the burlap bag that I'm going to use that has a backing on it. So the first step was just to try to mask that. So I just went over the front of the fall leaf. It's like a chunky leaf. It stands up on its own with just some white acrylic. I probably used a little bit too much paint, and that did cause it to kind of drip down the sides there on the top where I couldn't really see it. I did discover it though, but I really couldn't clean it up. It's on that like MDF material, so that's okay. I had to do something with it at that point. I didn't really want to paint it, but I thought we could hide it if we kind of looked like we did it on purpose. So we are just going to distress white all along the sides. It's totally going to go with everything, and it's just going to make it look a little bit more decorative. I do want some of the brown to show through for sure, though. So I'm just using a chunky brush from Dollar Tree and just distressing all around, just to kind of fix that. And try not to get paint everywhere. And I think that's going to do a good job, though, of masking it so you won't be able to see that design through it. Now, for the word that I want to add to the little fall leaf, I'm going to use one of these little wood Hello Fall signs from the Dollar Tree. And I just stained it with some antique wax by Waverly, wiping off the excess with a baby wipe so it's not too dark. And then I'm going to use one of these burlap bags from the Dollar Tree. I love crafting with these. I just can't seem to not get paint on the back of this sign, but that's okay. I cleaned it up a little bit. Now I'm just going to lay it flat down against the back like that because I don't want like a mirror cut or anything like that. I want an exact cut so I'll be able to get it to fit on there. And then I just used a Sharpie to trace it out. I tried to use like a bronze color, so if I got any on there, it wouldn't be real obvious, but the Sharpie was a little hard to get in the little areas, especially that one. So I do have to kind of go back with an ink pen to kind of get in there, but I just wanted to draw it out so that I can cut it down to size perfectly. So this is just in half of one of these little bags that I had left over because I craft with these all the time. I love them because they don't fray. You're going to get the look of burlap. And they have this plastic coating on the back so you can totally draw on it, cut things down to size, and you can see how easily this cuts out, especially with like an intricate pattern like this. Like if I were using like the real burlap, there's like no way I would be able to cut out like a perfect leaf shape like this. So just going around all the different curves of our little maple leaf and cutting that down to size. Now it does have a plastic backing on it, but you can still Mod Podge it down, and that's what I'm going to do because I don't want hot glue. Hot glue might cause some ridges and stuff in that and melt the plastic on the back of the burlap, so I think Mod Podge is going to work, but you do have to kind of do a fairly thick layer. So I just use some Dollar Tree matte Mod Podge, smoothing that all out, and then laying our little burlap leaf right on top. Now this is going to kind of sit like at an angle like that. That's how it stands on its own. So I got to remember that before I add the word. And then I'm just going to hot glue on the little stained Hello Fall word, just to give it a little bit more personality. Now I thought it needed one more thing. So I picked up some of these little laser cut leaves from the Dollar Tree. And I thought this one would be perfect. It's like a variety of different kinds of leaves. It fits in perfectly. It's brown, so it kind of matches like what we stained the Hello Fall for. I just have to figure out which way I want it on there, and I think I like that. So I just hot glue it on. Now I like the brown color. It matches, but it is kind of obvious that it's kind of that like cardboardy material. So I'm just gonna do a very, very minor faux like wood grain stain with some antique wax by Waverly and a chunky brush, just very lightly, giving it a little bit of a wood grain, and it's going to make it look like it's the same material that the Hello Fall is made out of, like it's made out of wood. And this is how it turned out, our little burlap Hello Fall leaf. Again, this is a nice small size, so this would be a really cute DIY for your fall tier tray, or basically anywhere that you want a little bit of fall. I really like the textures of the burlap. The distressing on the sides actually looks pretty cool too. And then the stained Hello Forward. Now, this next DIY, I'm going to use one of these little wood bead wreaths from the Dollar Tree. I think these are new this year. I've never seen them before in the fall aisle. And a couple of Dollar Tree signs. I picked up this one. I really loved the shape of it. I don't really need a hanger on it, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the wood bead hanger that was on there. And I'm going to make it a standing sign by using that little round metal sign from the Dollar Tree. Now, I do want to warm it up, give it a little bit more color. So even though it's already like a wood grain, I can still stain it, even though it's kind of probably finished a little bit. Just by using some Antique Wax by Waverly, I just work in one direction. And I don't want a dark stain on this. So while my Antique Wax by Waverly is wet, I take a baby wipe and wipe off all the excess. And as you can see, it kind of lightens up the stain a little bit, but look at that beautiful wood grain. I want to leave the little wood bead wreath with the acorn inside. This exactly how it is. I think it's perfect, but I wanted to add a little warmth with the wood. So this little sign from the Dollar Tree also has the same kind of base. So I'm going to stain it exactly the same way to make that coordinate. These come like in white or black, and I craft with these all the time because they do great to make any kind of sign, standing sign. So I don't really need the hanger on this, so I just trimmed that part off. And I love the little burlap acorn and all of it, so I am just going to hot glue that down. I don't think I worked quick enough here because I put hot glue on, set it down, and I think the hot glue like kind of set up on me because it was totally not sticking. So we'll try that again here, maybe with a better job of hot gluing that on. Just trying to remove any hot glue that's going to interfere with it. And let's try that one more time. I got a replacement of this Ryobi hot glue gun, but now I'm having charging problems with it, which is a totally different problem than I was having with it before. So at this time, I still can't recommend that. It's going to have to do better. So I think that looks great. I love all the different colors of brown, all the neutral colors. And then to get it a standing sign, I just hot glued the little metal ring like this to the back, covering up that design, and then making sure it is glued flat against the back of this sign. And it's not a very heavy sign, so I don't think it'll have any problem standing up on its own. So a really cute little DIY. If you wanted to make yours hanging, you could totally paint or stain the wood beads that were on that sign, but I really like the shape of that sign. I think it turned out really cute. And I really like it as a standing sign. I think it's really fun. So here it is. I finally found a reason to use one of these little wood bead wreaths from the Dollar Tree. And again, nice small project, would be great on a tier tray, but I'm actually going to use it for like cabinet fall decor. But I love all the different colors of brown and textures on that one, and the cute little burlap acorn. They also have a leaf that I have that has like a green leaf in it. Pretty cool. And you know what? I'm actually going to use that as an inspiration for my next piece because I thought maybe we could do something like that small piece, but with larger items from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to use this little wood round from the Dollar Tree. It does have a word on the other side of it, which I don't really need, but that's okay because I can always just make that the back of my sign. And I thought I could combine that with one of the wood bead reforms from the Dollar Tree. I love those things. And a Dollar Tree burlap leaf, and see if we can kind of make a larger version of that. So I want to leave the wood bead garland or the wreath the natural color. So for the wood round, I'm actually going to stain it. And I'm going to do the same kind of technique where I just do a thin coat of Antique Wax by Waverly on the sign and then wipe it off with a baby wipe while it's still wet, and it's going to give us a beautiful like kind of medium warm stain on here. Definitely going to go with our neutral colors. This DIY was so easy to make because I'm going to use one of the little burlap maple leaves like this from the Dollar Tree. I chose one of them. The maple leaves are really kind of large, but I think it's going to work well with this. And I kind of liked the tan burlap color. So I'm actually going to leave the little wire on there to make it look like a leaf stem here. I just kind of bend it to one side just to give it a little bit of character, and we can attach that to our wood round. And I think like the burlap, the stained wood, and then the unfinished wood on the wood beads, it's all going to go really well together for neutral colors. I just glued the wire down because I want the rest of the burlap leaf to kind of stick up a little bit on the sides, kind of adding a little bit more dimension to the whole project. Kind of fold them up like that. And there was a little glue already on the wire there, so I'm just going to kind of clean that up to kind of make that look more like a leaf stem, less like a wire. And I'm glad I left that on there because I think it looks cool. Now I'm going to take some Dollar Tree twine, and I'm going to make a hanger for the wood round to attach it to the wood bead wreath, but I'm also going to make it also a hanger. So I just cut down some twine, I burned off the fuzzies in advance, and I threaded that through. Now I'm going to have it connect here where the wreath form connects. So I actually just stringed that through, and I made sure that it was long enough that I could have a hanger on it too. It's a little tricky just trying to get it through, but it's basically just going to double knot it. So I knot it once, or double knot it here. Make sure that it's going to hang exactly where I want it to in my wreath form. And then I can take that same twine and knot it again just to make a little wreath hanger. Now I'm going to use this on my wall, but you could always use this for a wreath for your door as well. The colors are beautifully neutral, and this would go with any kind of color scheme. And this is how it turned out. I told you this one was going to be really easy. I really love these little wood bead wreaths from the Dollar Tree. I've been crafting with them a lot. Big fan of them. And I like just leaving that one natural wood. It's easier that way too. And this is how it turned out. It's kind of a larger version of those little wood bead wreaths that we just DIY'd with. Now the next DIY, I picked up these wood beads at Dollar Tree, and these are the chunky cube ones. And I'll show you in a minute why I wanted the cube ones instead of the round ones, but you could probably do it with the round ones as well. What I wanted to do was to do a really fun, like neutral burlap pumpkin with some raw wood beads on there. So I just cut some Dollar Tree burlap down larger than I need for my little pumpkin sign. And I had a scrap piece that was going to work perfect for this. The only thing is you really do kind of have to iron it to be able to work with it, because the way that they roll it up, it's just a little bit all bent up and it makes it a little bit harder to work with. So I just give it a quick iron with my Cricut Easy Press, and then I'm just going to leave it as a rectangle, trim it up later, but for now I can go ahead and attach that to the wood pumpkin. I'm going to go ahead and leave the little hanger on that. Maybe we can go ahead and save that. And I'm going to connect the burlap to the pumpkin sign with Mod Podge. I like to use Mod Podge for burlap. I do a nice thick layer since it is fabric. You know, it's going to be kind of heavier. And it does a pretty good job of drying clear if it does seep through the burlap a little bit. And I just smooth the burlap out. I'm not too concerned with the pumpkin stem because I want to do something different for that one. But then I just use like a dry paper towel just to like kind of spread that out, make sure it is good and attached. I'm going to go ahead and trim the burlap down to size. I didn't really even wait for it to dry, but it was good enough to kind of keep it in place. Now, this is so easy with this shape. It's not an intricate shape like the leaf that we did earlier and stuff like that. Kind of like just cutting around a circle. The only tricky parts are like up here when you kind of get around the pumpkin stem and stuff like that. I was kind of cutting it around it, and then I remembered that I was going to do something different for the pumpkin stem anyway, so no need. So once I get it on there, then you can just kind of trim up any loose parts. The burlap's always going to have a little bit of raveling around the edges, but this one actually looks pretty good. And make sure all of your edges are glued down. Now for the pumpkin stem, I'm just going to use some Dollar Tree twine, and I'm just going to start here on the base on the back, hot gluing that to it, wrapping it around, and only hot gluing when I really need to. you are going around like a little bend there in the pumpkin stem. So it does make it a little tricky to wrap it, but I just kind of wrap as much as I can in one direction. And then if I have some areas that I need to skip, I do. And I can always go back and fill those in. Now, when you get to the tip of it like this, you just kind of have to hot glue it. I want to cover up like all of the wood part there too, though. But again, I'm not cutting my twine at this point. I'm just kind of leaving it all connected, just trying to get that finished where it looks nice. And then I can kind of go back and fill in any of the empty like triangular sections there with more twine, wrapping it around until it's nice and full. We're going to hot glue it back to the base and trim off the excess. Now, the reason I got the cube shape would-be garlands, you don't really get a whole lot on a string from the Dollar Tree, but the reason I did is because they're flat, so it would be really kind of serve the same purpose like if you were going to do the wood half beads. I do get those sometimes on Amazon, but this is another option. This is something from the Dollar Tree that you can use where you can glue something flat to it. I have done this with the round beads too, though, from the Dollar Tree, and it does work, but I thought this would look cool. It's going to make it look really chunky. I'm leaving them the natural wood color. And the first step is just going around in an oval shape, using the bottom to know where you want that oval shape of the pumpkin, the different sections to go. And I just kind of hot glue a section at a time, trying to kind of guess where that would be. And mine was like almost long enough to make it around it was like one bead short here at the top, but we can always just fill that in. And I did end up using all 3 packages of the wood cube for this size pumpkin. And I just go ahead and leave them strung like that, hot gluing that down, trying to make my shape look a little bit better, and then just filling in my gap with one more of the little cube-shaped wood beads. Now we're going to start here on the other side. They are kind of tied off with like the string tied around the wood bead. And so I just kind of glue that part down to the burlap so you can't really see it. Just saves a step, and whenever you are gluing them on and they're all strung together like this, it just makes it a lot easier. So I'm just doing like a C shape here for the left side. And then gluing that down. I'm not going to bother tying that off or anything like that. I thought I had maybe one too many, so I did take one off there at the bottom and then trim off the twine. Here is the 3rd package. That's what I'm talking about. You don't really get very many on these. They used to give you more. And then we're just going to do like the reverse C shape here on this side. And I really like the twine, the burlap, and the raw wood on the beads. I think they all work really nice together for a fun neutral color scheme. Just trying to get this as tight and rounded as I can. And if I don't have any of the wood beads glued down, I also go in and touch that up as well. Now I wanted to dress this up a little bit. I didn't really want to put anything on the burlap part of the pumpkin though. I think that looks really cool, but I did want to dress up the top of the pumpkin stem a little bit. So I kind of wanted neutral colors, so I thought like these little burlap leaves from the Dollar Tree would work if they were way smaller. So I'm just actually going to cut the top part off to make some small leaves. I thought I was going to use green and tan. I ended up only using tan just because I didn't have as much room on there as I thought. So I just kind of trimmed them down to make them look like a little fall leaf. And then I am just going to hot glue that on here, right there in that gap. It kind of fills in the gap between the wood beads. And then the other side, instead of doing a leaf, I am just going to do some wired jute instead. We can just do a little bit of a curly tendril. And I just do that by wrapping that real quick. And you have to be careful you don't work with this too much though, because it does definitely come off the wire. I just trimmed mine down and then hot glue it right there to the top. And then as you can see, I kind of left the end all jagged like that, just so I can do a quick trim at the end. And I just trim that down to size. And that is how this DIY turned out. This is a nice burlap neutral color of fall pumpkin, and this is how it looks hanging in my house. I really like all the different colors of tan and brown and all the different materials that we use today. I think they look really good. You'll have to let me know in the comments below which one of these DIYs was your favorite. And this is this one. I hope you enjoyed these 36 fall DIYs. I also wanted to remind you about memberships. If you could subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. If you can join, that would be super great. Both buttons should be available next to my channel name. And now it's time for the final reveal. Be sure to comment below your favorite DIY. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and let's go.
Open up the window. I'm breathing in the last of September. I can feel the wind blow, and the late summer sky is like a giant ember. Everything is turning into gold. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. Since I was a little child, every year for as long as I remember, all the leaves were running wild, going all the way until November. Turn the world around us into gold. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. I wonder where they're going, the flight of swallows sailing through the sky. There's no way of knowing, but maybe someplace far from you and I. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. Dancing through the last days of September. Open up the window. I'm breathing in the last of September. I can feel the wind blow, and the late summer sky is like a giant ember. Everything is turning into gold. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. Since I was a little child, every year for as long as I remember, all the leaves were running wild, going all the way until November. Turn the world around us into gold. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. I wonder where they're going, the flight of swallows sailing through the sky. There's no way of knowing, but maybe someplace far from you and I. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. When the autumn leaves are playing chase, it puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. Dancing through the last days of September. Open up the window. I'm breathing in the last of September. I can feel the wind blow, and the late summer sky is like a giant ember. Everything is turning into gold. since I was a little child. Every year for as long as I remember, all the leaves were running wild, going all the way until November. Turn the world around us into gold. When the autumn leaves are playing chase it, puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. I wonder where they're going, the flight of swallows sailing through the sky. There's no way of knowing, but maybe someplace far from you and I. When the autumn leaves are playing chase it, puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. When the autumn leaves are playing chase it, puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branch.
Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I want to give a huge shout out to the following Crafty Beach Bum members. Thank you to Karen O'Haron, Coastal Couple, Pamela Bergeron, I Am Mojo Jojo, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Sandra Ray, Carrie R., Tracy Knight, Verna Noctigal, Julie Miller, Nancy Warner, Jan Zalata, Tammy Coates, and Janae Farrington. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys help keep these videos coming. And I also want to thank you for making it all the way to the end of today's video. If you'd like to watch more Crafty Beach, YouTube thinks you might enjoy this video right here.